We are tonight's entertainment.
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Excellent!
Hello everyone, welcome to an episode of the Movie Mania podcast, where we talk films past, present, and future. I'm Sherman Trey White of Podcast Media, and joining me is the man, the myth, the legend, aliens. Are you serious? Bandit Incorporated.
What? Hello. Here we are. I'm gonna close the window because that bird outside is squawking really loud.
I thought a bird got in your house. Look at this imagine you like in here. In your Mad Max attire with the bear. Well, Bandit's getting rid of a bird. Like, I get out of my house. Yeah, he's just gotta. Your
Set the dogs on you.
Your coffee mug also works as a flamethrower. You just flip it upside down.
How are you, Trey?
I'm wonderful. A little. I won't lie, I'm a little exasperated because, you know, as I said a couple weeks ago with my House of Cards when that came back, you just kind of had to. You sit on your couch and just watch it back to back until something happens and you fall asleep and wake up and do it all over again. That's me with Daredevil, so, you know.
Yeah. I'm not all the way through it, so don't spoil it yet.
Of course not. I'm only on episode 11. Don't tweet us spoilers, good God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should say to our listeners, you might notice that Trilbee is not here.
Yes.
It's like musical chairs with the three of us. It shifts each podcast, but that's a point of having three people now. If some of us aren't there, there's others to keep going. Now, Trilbee's mentioned a couple of times on the podcast before that he's moving house. He's now moved house and hasn't got internet hooked up yet, so that's why he's not here. But he will be here next week.
Yeah, okay. Righto. So, yeah, he will. Here's hoping he's doing well. All right, Bandit.
Let me ask you, do you have your tickets for Batman v Superman yet?
No. Shame. I thought I had
them.
Ding ding ling shame. Ling 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 shame. No, like, okay, so alright, so here's my deal, right? So I thought I had them right. Me and my friend discussed it. She's like, okay, alright, we're going Thursday. And I go because he went to New York over the spring break this week, and I was at home. And so when he got back, I went to him. I was like, all right, man, so do you have can I see the tickets? And he's like, oh, I didn't get them. And I said, why? And he said, I got driving school that day. And I'm like, that would have been nice to mention a week and a half ago, but that's whatever. So I'm not going. I'm not going as of right now. I don't have set tickets. I will most definitely be going sometime between now and next week's episode of the podcast.
Yeah, sometime over the weekend.
Yeah.
You might remember that. Well, I got my tickets for the midnight screening, but for those of us who were around. For the way I got my tickets for the Star Wars Force Awakens midnight screening was I was in the cinema watching Bridge of Spies, and I just asked the girl, I'm like, hey, can I get a ticket for Force Awakens opening night? And she was like, yeah, sure. And I just bought it. Did the same thing when I went to see 10 Cloverfield Lane for Batman v Superman.
Sold out?
Well, actually, I said to her, same cinema, so same situation. Star Wars was sold out, and I said to her, I'm like, are there any seats left for Batman v Superman? And bear in mind, this is Wednesday night Australia time, which is Tuesday America time, so it's like 2 days from now. And she goes, oh yeah, we've only sold 8% of the tickets so far.
Wow.
And I was like, ooh. I don't know. Maybe I just live in a weird area, but that's not a good sign.
Wait, so this was last Wednesday?
This was yesterday.
This was, oh, jeez.
Yesterday when I saw 10 Cloverfield Lane. I was like, can I get midnight screening in a couple of days? She's like, yeah, we've only sold 8% of the tickets. I was like, man, it's going to be almost empty on opening the midnight showing. That's crazy.
It'll be like, I think it'll be like 50%. Like 50% full by Thursday afternoon, by almost Friday morning, you know, it'll probably fill up throughout Thursday. Wow.
God,
see,
I can pull up. It's good. I'm really hoping it's gonna be good.
See, my thing is, like, I can pull up my typical theater chain that I go to because they have the best theaters in my town, and I can pull up like 4 different theaters for Thursday night 7:00 showings, and they're all sold out. So like that's crazy. It might just be your area.
Yeah, it could be.
Because I guess I'm just surrounded by nerds. To be fair, we do have a Comic-Con that comes here, Alamo City Comic-Con, every year. I don't go, of course, but the cast of The Walking Dead's here every year. Yeah, but that's whatever. Okay, Bandit. Yeah, let's get into the movie news.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story. Cannonball!
Okay, X-Men Apocalypse trailer. That's our first news story here today. Bandit, what were your thoughts on the trailer?
Yeah, it was good. It gives us a bit of a view of the plot, which is, by the looks of it, Apocalypse wants to kill off all the humans, which is the same plot we had for X-Men First Class and X-Men 2, and did X-Men 3 have that? No, that was about the Cure. But I think there was also a bit of that. So yeah, they're recycling the same storyline for the third time.
Except this one can grow big, I guess. And
but this time, it's got Oscar Isaacs.
Oscar Isaac.
But this time, the villain is blue.
But this time, it's Ivan Ooze. So, I mean, my thing about, the plots are familiar, sure, but now they just, now they're being put into, and I think, a podcast I was listening to that wasn't the Schmoes, someone made a great point, and they said, these trailers are all starting to look the same, and I'm like, yeah, that's really true, because, the world's being destroyed at the end. I'm like, this looks exactly the same as something else we've seen before. I think it still looks good. I'm gonna go see it, but at this point, I'm just seeing it for the conversation between Magneto and Professor X at this point. That's the only reason I'm going to these movies from now on, I guess, because everything else just looks boring.
Well, I mean, we always get hate. We talk about X-Men because neither of us likes the movies.
Oh yeah, I love First Class, and I think 2's pretty good. Yeah,
I used to watch the X-Men cartoon of and that was a TV show, and that had a greater variety of plot lines, and it's a Saturday morning show than the movies. You don't need to recycle the same plot line 3 times in a row. Just go to the comics. There's a bajillion different really cool things that the X-Men have been through. Just use one of them. There's one where X-Men sets up his own nation. He harnesses the magnetic fields of the whole Earth and builds his own island nation where mutants can go. Do that. That's interesting.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
You don't need to risk the world blowing up in every single movie for it to be interesting.
Well, I mean, essentially, I think what makes a movie like First Class. Did you scoff at the X-Men? Did you? Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
You look at the X-Men like a kid looks at broccoli, huh? And just get that out of my face. I want my Marvel. Give me my dessert. It's only after you drink your DC. So, I mean, one thing with First Class that made the movie stand out was essentially it was the characters, and it felt like it was something different that we've gotten. It wasn't just depressing X-Men. Oh, we all are hated by everybody. It just, these movies do feel the same, and I think First Class for me still stands out in my mind because it felt like something different. And then we get back to Days of Future Past, and essentially it's the same thing with better effects. I guess the future stuff was cool with the whole portals and whatever, but that's just and now this one just looks, I don't know, this one just doesn't wow me. Everyone's getting really psyched for this movie. I'm like, Psylocke looks cool, Nightcrawler looks cool, there's a really cool fight looking between Archangel and Nightcrawler, but I hope that is Apocalypse controlling these guys by mind control, or is it just he's persuading them? I don't understand.
I don't. Well, look, he probably does have that power. He has all the powers, but I didn't get the impression in the trailer. I get the impression he's just who wants to join me?
Mania's all right.
Yeah.
He's okay, I'll do it. I didn't feel like Magneto's style though. It just seems like he's not a follower. Essentially, he's a leader.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, totally.
But I'm just that the best part of the trailer is when Professor X is in the chair and Magneto's like, "What are you gonna do when someone comes in here and tries to take you down or whatever?" It was the same line they had at the end of the first movie, right?
Yeah.
We are the future, Charles, not them. Yeah, I remember that.
I feel a great swell of pity for the poor soul who comes to that school looking for trouble.
Oh man. Yeah. Okay.
And then that happens in the second movie, and it's not really that big of a deal.
Yeah, well, when you have a guy that has
in fact, the mutants lose.
Clause.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, that's the X-Men Apocalypse trailer. Okay.
Please put your hate down below in the comments. Ladies.
Tweet at Movie Mania Pod. I can't wait for it. I forgot to. I have some trader comments, but we'll get to those We'll get to those later.
Ooh, good. I love trader comments.
Yeah. Okay. There's a streaming movie service that is being not Nate Parker. What's his name? I think it's Nat Parker, something like that. The same guy who invented Napster. He's making this new movie streaming service that is being backed by big movie filmmakers. I think Spielberg and what was his name? It's either Cameron or someone else, but he's being backed by several big movie makers and studios. And the service is called Screening Room. And here's essentially, it's like you buy cable. You buy this box. It's $150 which at first sounds like a lot, and essentially at the opening weekend of a movie. So I guess starting at Thursday at 7:00, you can buy movies first release. And you get to keep it for the entire weekend for $50.
So
I think
it's essentially
that's
like Netflix, but for new release movies, so you can watch them from home rather than going to the cinema. Gee, that's interesting, because I remember I made a video on that a while back.
And I didn't say
saying
you were
that
wrong.
That was inevitable technology.
I never said you were wrong.
Someone was saying that it was never going to happen. Isn't that right, Trey?
I didn't say you were wrong. I didn't say you were wrong. I said I didn't want it to happen. Yeah. I said I was mad because you were kind of right, so I can limit myself. And you are kind of right because, and granted, we have people like Tarantino and Nolan going against this, be like, "No, man, you're ruining the movie experience," which is true. Now, here's my thing.
Yeah, well, of course, Tarantino would say that he's still filming on physical film.
Yeah, he's still making 70mm movies. Oh my god, it's like okay.
But let me ask you. So the guy who's doing this is the same guy who made Napster, who Justin Timberlake played in the Social Network movie.
Social Network, yeah. Who killed the music industry, yeah.
Yeah, he's the guy who basically forced the music industry to get into the digital age like this and go online, and now he's doing the same thing with movies. That's amazing.
But there's a difference here between this and like, because here's the thing, like, it's like you can't compare things like vinyl and CD to going to the movies. You can compare them to like DVDs or Blu-ray. I'm completely 110% fine with physical media, like Blu-rays and home video stuff dying. That's fine. What I'm not okay with is that instead of going to watching this massive 90-foot screen that I can in this epic surround sound with not hundreds, but dozens of speakers around me, I instead have to go in my living room with my grandpa watching TV loudly below, yelling at the Spurs. It's a basketball team, and watching it with a glare in my TV on my 60-inch television. Like that, there's a difference there. And so, like, the movies is where you get to go out. And granted, I can see this thing working. Like, say you're a family and you have kids and you're Catholic, so you have 5 or 6 kids, and so you now have a movie ticket. And say you go Friday night after school, after kids are out of school. That's at $10 a ticket, roughly. That's $10 a ticket. So now you're spending upwards of $60 to $80 taking your kids to movies plus snacks. I can see why this would work for you. And or say like episode 8's coming out and you buy the movie for your friends. Since you already have the service, you buy your movie for the friends and you invite like family or friends over and you all sit down and watch the viewing party. That sounds like a nightmare. I don't want to sit down and try to watch a movie with my friends in my living room. That sounds horrible. They're going to be talking. Someone's going to be second face in the corner. I'm not going to know. I don't want to do that. This is awful.
Well, then you know what you do? Then you go down to the movies and you buy a ticket like you always do.
But what about the lazy Americans?
You have that option. The option that we don't have now is being able to watch a movie in the comfort of your own home when it's released, if that's what you want to do. But now we have that option. That's a good thing.
And no, it's not. It's going to kill the cinema. It's going to kill the cinema because...
Well, hey, video killed the radio store. Welcome to reality. This is the world. The world keeps turning.
We are the future, Charles, not them.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like
adapt or die. That's the way it is.
I feel like you're back needed on Professor X. I'm like, no, humans can still be saved. No, it's like, the difference being is like, okay, think about color television. Well, let's bring in your analogies that you love so much. Think about color television. when they introduce color television, it's like, oh, hey, we're introducing a new spectrum. It feels like we're actually there. It helps the experience. Taking a movie from a 90-foot screen to a 70-inch screen is different. I was on the phone with someone the other day, and they said they don't want to go to the movies anymore because they have a home theater system. And I'm like, it's not the same. It really isn't. And granted, if the movie's great, it's not going to necessarily hurt the film to have it play on your television screen, but it will hinder the experience the creators meant. And also with the movie theaters,
why do you care so much about, like, it's not going to kill cinema, it will kill the cinemas, or might kill. Yes. Why do you care so much about the cinemas? Why do you care so much about the pimply kid that tears your ticket and is like, have a good showing, sir? Why do you care about them?
Who cares? Right, let me go. I care because The cinema
Movies will continue. They might have.
I'm not saying that.
Different format, but
what if the budget?
Are you getting kickbacks from the cinemas? Why are you so determined to defend their jobs in this dying industry?
They know. No. It's like okay. So I'm 8 years old, right? I told this story countless times in the podcast. I'm 8 years old. I'm in the theater at the IMAX, watching something filmed on an IMAX screen, and that inspires me to go out there and become a filmmaker. That experience is now gone if I never got to see that movie on the big screen like I did.
But if I would have watched remember when we were talking about Empire Strikes Back, I said, did you watch that on the big screen or the small screen? And you watched it on your TV at home, but you still enjoyed it, you still loved it, it still had an impact on your life. But
that's not why I love Star Wars. I love Star Wars because I went and saw Revenge of the Sith on the big screen, and that blew my mind. Yes. Irrelevant. Okay, so...
So for some reason, just a screen being bigger makes a real impact on you. It's still the same movie.
It's the
you could just sit closer to the TV and get the same effect, you know?
And lose my eyesight, sure. No, but it's the heightened experience. I care so much because I as someone who wants to make movies in the future, I don't want to be like, instead of like in the trailer, it's like, coming to theaters this May. It's like, coming to your living rooms in 10 minutes. It's like, no, this is different than what happens to the music industry.
No, I think people will use it for like Batman v Superman. If I had the option to watch that at home, no, I would go and see it in the theater.
Most people wouldn't, though.
Because I want to be surrounded by the fans, and I do want to see it on the big screen, like you said.
Most people would not, though.
But 10 Cloverfield Lane, I would have been happy to just watch that here at home.
I would. I liked my theater.
And I really liked it.
But my thing is, like, most people, like, we're and I just quote Trilbee last week, we are the 1%. We are the fans. We are not middle America, Kansas family going movie public. Most people are going to want to stay home. There's a reason bootlegging movies is so popular still, because people can just like, oh, I'm just going to watch, like, apps like Showbox or whatever are popular because people are going to want to go home, or people are just going to want to stay home and watch the movie. And this will quickly kill the movie industry, you know, and this might have...
Spoken like every aging fossil that doesn't understand media. Listen, old man.
And what about the budget?
You're 16 years old, you're talking like an old man. Listen. Nostalgia Critic himself said in his What's the Fair Use video, Hollywood has always thought there's some boogeyman that's going to kill movies. They thought it would be television, then they thought it would be VHS, then they thought it would be DVDs, and now they're blaming the internet. Look, the only way to combat... Like, movies will always continue. The way in which they're shown and distributed will change, but storytelling will always survive in one form or another. Having, like, a monopoly on the way it's distributed in cinemas, that's never going to work. People's tastes change. And everything's going online now. If you want to combat online movie piracy, the best way to do that is the same way that the music industry overcame Napster. Don't try to stop people from having that option, but just give them a legitimate option. Because there's been a lot of research done on movie piracy, and they find that the people who pirate, it's not usually people who can't afford to go or don't have the option. People just do it mostly for convenience. It's just easier than it is ordering like a Blu-ray DVD and waiting for it to get mailed to your house, etc., etc. So by making a legitimate way that people can watch a movie from home on opening release, will be the biggest influencer of cutting down movie piracy that you could possibly do. So if you really love movies and you really love storytelling, you should encourage this, because it will be the biggest hit against piracy.
This is about laziness. This is about America not wanting to go out and watch a movie anymore.
How is it lazy to offer people another option that they didn't have? That's all it really is.
It's not. All right, I can't. We're going back into our old argument against like free will and whatnot. That I don't feel like getting into right now. Let's just say
you're basically saying I want people to enjoy movies, but I only want them to enjoy that in the way that I think is okay.
The way the filmmakers
intended suits them. That's what
the way the filmmakers intended to make it. Oh my god. Okay, I'm not trying to control how people watch movies. I'm saying that people make movies for them to be seen. Ever since movies have ever been made, ever since Edison shot the first thing on the film, wherever that happened, it's been projected in a theater, and that's been the way it's been for a long time, and there's a reason that it stayed around. Granted, when television was introduced and the 4:3 ratio was used, they did Panavision and CinemaScope and the 2.35 by whatever ratio. And that essentially became the norm now. And so, but there's not really a way a movie cinema can combat the internet. If they were introduced a streaming service online, movies can't just be like, well, we now have computers where we can watch them at the theater. No, they're not going to do that. How do you combat that? That's just going to make the movie theaters obsolete, and that's just. We've had this conversation before, and I'm not going to sway you, so we're moving on. Okay.
Well, can I just say one thing? Is like
Sure.
they have done studies in like movie cinemas, and where they've this is kind of an evil study that they did, where they put all these people in movie cinema, they're all given popcorn, they show a movie, and like the first like half of the popcorn thing is like normal popcorn, and then what's like the second half of the popcorn, like once they burrow down, it's like week-old popcorn, like horrible, cold, stale popcorn. But what they've found is that people, they're just eating the popcorn, and when they get to the old stuff, they just keep eating and they don't notice. Why?
Yeah.
Because their minds are sucked into the movie and they're not noticing anymore. And humans, I think it just goes to human nature of any kind of storytelling, whether it's a movie or whether it's a book that doesn't even have like images, to go with it, unless a comic book, of course. But like storytelling has that ability to suck you in, and once you're sucked in, you don't really notice your surroundings. So
Unless you're at home and the pizza man comes to the door while you're watching your movie.
Yeah, well then you pause it and you grab your pizza.
Yeah,
and
then
you
you're
keep
sucked
watching.
out of the movie, and then you're put out of the movie. You have to go put back in.
Yeah, but as opposed to when you're in the cinema and somebody starts answering their phone right next to you, yeah, that doesn't pull you out of the movie cinema, does you?
But if you're so sucked in, like I'm going off of your popcorn example. They didn't notice because they're not.
How's it
being
any different than
distracted.
if the projector in the movie theater stops? And like that's happened to me. The film is burnt out of the camera, and you have to wait 20 minutes. How's it any different? That's called life trade.
The difference
Interruptions happen.
The difference is that you don't go into the theater expecting the projector to break, or for someone to spill drink on you, or for a baby to poop their diaper next to you. But when you watch a movie at home, you're going to be on your phone. You're going to get a text from somebody. You're going to pause it to go.
When they decide to sit down to watch a movie at home, especially if it's one that they can play it when they want to, who decides to sit down and watch a movie if they know the pizza man is about to knock on the door, or they know they're about to get...
My family.
Nobody does that. You play a movie when you know you're probably not going to get interrupted.
People around me. Families. People around me. I've seen this happen before. It's how it works. Like say you're in a
just
house.
like when you go to a movie theater with your family, and one of your brother or your sister might nudge you and start talking to you during the movie in the cinema, just like they would at home. It's exactly the same.
And you tell them to shush, and they do. But if you're at home, they're going to be like, "No, I'm to my house," or whatever, and they're going to keep talking about it.
That's why people usually have a TV room and like a living area over there.
And that's where most of the talking takes place. It's a social area. All right, Bandit, we need to stop. All right. All right. We could literally have... We said this before, guys.
Really, that's your reason for trying to ban an entire area for movies. Oh, but occasionally my brother might start talking in my house.
This is
so
like
we should completely ban a whole area of digital media. That's
not what I... First of all, that's not what I said.
The examples you give are laughable. This is a good thing. It's giving an option.
We are the cure
for people who want to see it. So you know what this is? This is fear of change, Trey.
This is fear
That's
that
why people are always scared of new technology. It's not the technology, it's the fear of change.
If I knew that this would happen without the cinemas going under, I'd be fine with it. But I don't. I like going to the movies, and I love going to the movies. It's a great pastime. It's a wonderful way for me to go and experience what the filmmakers intended when they made the movie. I don't want that to go away. That's not change. That's losing something. That's different.
Every time a new technology comes along, it puts someone else out of work. But those people don't starve and die in the streets. They just go and do other stuff. They just go and do other things. That's life. We move on. We adapt. Things change.
There is a difference. Though. I'm telling you,
there's no reason to halt progress just because it causes temporary.
It's not progress. It's not progress.
Discomfort for some people.
It's going backwards. It's not progress. It's going backwards.
Progress.
No, it's not. Going from a glamorous
because having Netflix shows has resulted in TV getting so much worse. Everything on Netflix is terrible.
That's not what I was saying.
It's freed up creatively TV. It's given us better shows. And same thing will happen with movies.
Hold on. I'm talking about movies. I'm talking about... this is the Republican debate. I'm ending it now. We're moving on. I'm sorry.
Now, hang on.
No.
You can't end it now. No, hang on. Listen.
Next story. I'm done.
Wait. Digital media, you can produce and distribute movies cheaper, which means the studios can take bigger risks, which means they can be more creative. I mentioned that in my video too.
You mean the budget's going to be lower, so the
But
effects?
putting a movie in cinemas all around the world is really expensive. It drives the costs up, so they play it safe, and we get dumber movies. Having going digital will give them a bigger budget and will enable them to be more creative and get us better shows. That's happened with Netflix already. That's been proven.
Lowering the budgets of things make them look better. That doesn't make any sense.
What are you talking about? I'm talking about because they have to split their profits with the cinemas. If you put it online, you don't have to do that.
Movie theaters get up to 80%, sometimes even 90%. Sometimes
that's
they get
not
all
true.
of it that happens.
It differs from movie to movie.
Exactly, but there's that's why I said up to like 80 or 90%. In certain cases, they don't get 50% of it.
Yeah, but if
some of it does go back to the movie theaters.
You get a much better deal, presumably.
Presumably, no.
Yeah.
What about Netflix then? What about the Netflix whole situation?
Go Google Netflix, find out yourself. I don't know.
Well, you're the one coming to me about the situation. It's like, well, it's cheaper on Netflix. I'm like, how do you know? You haven't showed me any.
No, I'm saying it'll be cheaper for movies because they don't have to split their profits with the cinema. But if they put it online on their own site, they don't have to split it with anyone. I don't know what the Mark Zuckerberg guy, what arrangement he's got, but presumably it's something similar.
Bandit, we are 28 minutes in, and we are only on our second news.
Well, hey, you brought it up. We need to talk about it.
We need to move on. We're just going to sit here and argue for an hour and a half, which I would love to do.
Well, it's relevant. This is the Movie Mania podcast, and this could seriously change movies, so it's worth talking about.
I just don't want the movie cinemas to die. That's my only thing.
I don't care if the movie cinemas die, if it gives us better movies and allows us to view it in a new way.
There's no correlation
that's a good thing. It's called progress.
There's no correlation between the death of cinemas and better movies. There's no correlation there.
What? What are you talking about?
You said you don't care about the death of the movie theater if it means better movies. There's no correlation there. What are you talking about? There's no
like what I said. If they don't have to split their profits with cinemas, less budget, so that means they can afford to take bigger risks, and we can get more creative movies.
You're saying less budget offers more creativity.
Yes, because big movies that they're spending $1 billion on, they really need people to go to cinemas. So they don't want to take risks that will alienate audiences, so they play it safe and they make stuff like Star Wars The Force Awakens. They don't want to take risks. But if movies cost less because they're making a lot of money digital and you don't need to split money with cinemas, that frees you up to take bigger risks.
That is not why Star Wars The Force Awakens is like A New Hope. Do not put my Star Wars into that. That is not why A New Hope or Force Awakens is so similar to A New Hope. That was J.J. Abrams' decision.
Absolutely, positively it's why, though. Like, Jurassic World was a remake. Force Awakens was a remake.
Well,
other stuff that I can't think of is probably also a remake.
Terminator Genesis.
Yeah, okay, fine, yeah. But they do it because they're playing it safe. They don't want to take risks.
Hollywood takes risks all the time. Maybe not with the bigger movies.
Yeah, only on small budget stuff. And if you have a smaller budget thanks to online, like whatever this new system is, then great. Same thing will happen. Smaller budget, they can afford to take risks, they will take risks, and we'll get better movies.
All right. So what do I actually do want to know, what do you guys think, the listeners here? I'm forcing us to move on.
Trey seems to believe that if you can watch a movie at home rather than having to go to the cinema, that's somehow going to cause the world to explode. I don't
that's
agree with that.
It's going to cause the theaters to die. It will. That's what's going to happen.
A little bit, yeah.
Very, very much so.
I think they'll just be a lot harder to find. Say, like, 20 years down the track, probably in city centres, there'll probably still be movie cinemas, but it'll be just only the real hardcore fans will go there to see it all en masse.
They'll be a lot less cleaner. They'll be a lot more worn down. Be a vintage thing, like a vinyl store, as opposed to these glamorous places where movies are meant to be seen.
Well, I think it'll be exactly the opposite, because they're competing more to try to get people to go to the cinemas. They will have to work harder to improve the experience.
Well, what about stores that sell vinyl stuff now? You don't see them trying to constantly upstage each other because no one's going to buy vinyls anymore. No one's going to be going to the movies, so why would they waste time trying to get their money to make people go?
That's because hardly anyone has a turntable anymore. It's an obsolete technology that doesn't even remotely compare to this.
All right, I gotta keep. Tell us what you guys think. I'd like to know what you guys are thinking about this. Okay, moving on. Indiana Jones. Lucasfilm has officially announced that in 2019 we are going to be getting Indiana Jones 5 with Harrison Ford and Steven Spielberg directing. Jesus, first the schmoes know this. All right, Bandit, what do you think?
Okay, so Okay, so Harrison Ford. So I'm trying to get my head out of this. Our last argument changed.
Right? That was a good job, man. That was really good argument. It's fun to argue with you.
Okay, so we are getting a new Indiana Jones, and they're going with Old Man Ford. And who did you say was directing it?
Spielberg.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, that movie's going to suck.
I don't think so. Uh-oh. I don't think so.
You're happy to see the Crystal Skull Part 2, which is like even older Harrison Ford?
Well, if you look at the original plans for Crystal Skull before it was called Crystal Skull, Frank Darabont wrote a script that Spielberg really wanted to use, essentially before Mr. Put Jar Jar and things came through. George Lucas was like, no, actually, we're gonna put some gophers and aliens, and so that was all George Lucas is doing. And Spielberg went with it because he was close friends with George Lucas, but George Lucas does not have creative control of Lucasfilm anymore. He is no longer working at Lucasfilm. Kathleen Kennedy is. So I maybe tell you what, it might be a safe movie, sure, but at least it won't be Crystal Skull. Yeah. I have faith in this.
But I mean,
I don't have faith in Harrison Ford.
Harrison Ford's like 1,000,000 years old.
He'll be 78 by the time this movie comes out.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, he broke his leg on Force Awakens, and he didn't even really have to do any hardcore physical stuff in that movie. He maybe ran around here and there, but like Indiana Jones, he's supposed to get in a fist fight. You're gonna kill the old man. Leave him alone. Just let him sit in his chair and drink his scotch. He doesn't have to.
Well, I think there's a way to do this. I don't know. Like say, do you ever watch the Young Indiana Jones kind of show?
Yeah.
And there was an episode where we saw regular Harrison Ford. They talked about it on Movie Mania, not Movie Mania, Weekly Planet. Excuse me. And so. But my thing is like say you have the opening scene is like Harrison Ford, and then out of nowhere maybe his house gets attacked and his family gets killed or something happens to him, whatever. I don't know. I've been watching a lot of Daredevil. Let's just say, and something happens, and it's an old villain from his past that, from an adventure we never saw. And like maybe you, in that sense, it's like what happened. The government's like, Indy, what happened? Why is this guy here? And he's like, well, let me tell you the story. And then it flashes back to a time in which we see a younger Indiana Jones played by a different actor, which I'm all for, by the way. And then, and we see the villain and which ways the story is kind of mirrored, and we see why the villain's coming back out to haunt Indiana Jones and go after him after all these years. And we kind of tell a parallel story.
Die Hard pitch from a while back.
But this one I think would work a lot better because you're not going back before Indiana Jones is Indiana Jones. You're just going back to tell another story. Yeah.
No, that'd be fine. Yeah, if it's younger Indiana Jones, I don't know.
I don't know how they're going to do it. I think that's really the only way you can do it is kind of to introduce, because like Harrison Ford, once this is done, what are you going to call this? Indiana Jones in the Search for the Prune Cream. Like, what are you going to? I don't understand.
I mean, Steven Spielberg started Indiana Jones because he wanted to direct a James Bond movie,
right?
But they said no, so he created Indiana Jones, which is in many ways a very similar character to James Bond. I mean, he's not a spy, but he sort of has that double life, and he's charming, all the women like him, he gets in adventures, all this sort of stuff. So, like, if he was sort of modelled off James Bond in that way, then why can't we do what they do with the James Bond actors? Just swap them out and keep going. No need to explain it, no need to reboot it. That's why I wanted to see Chris Pratt or someone like that just become James Bond and just continue on, set it in the 40s again. Nobody cares.
I think you have to transition.
Sort of universe where it really matters.
It's been around for so long. Like, with James Bond, it was only like 10 years of a difference, and it was the older times. But, like, it's been like, what, 30, 40 years at this point? I'm not. It was 81, wasn't it? It's like 30, 40 years since it's been out. And it's been nothing but Harrison Ford. So I think you kind of have to transition your way into it before you get the other Indiana Jones. Because if you were to just make the Indiana Jones 5 and just be like, this guy is Indiana Jones, this guy is not Indiana Jones, the general public would be like, wait a minute, they're doing Indiana, where's Harrison Ford? Because like especially if they don't acknowledge it, I feel like there has to be a transition into it. I don't know. I don't have a problem with it, but I feel like people would be less accepting of it.
Another problem with having Harrison Ford play it is like Crystal Skull, to account for his age, they set it in the 60s or something, or the late 50s to be against the Soviets. So if they want to continue that, he's going to be like, what, in the 70s? You're going to have Indiana Jones dancing in the disco?
It'd be like early 70s.
No, just
the movie doesn't. I don't think. Oh, I'm not making the movie. I think I was going to say my idea wouldn't be set in the 70s, but then again, it's not my movie. I'm making it.
Yeah.
Look, I have faith in Spielberg. I guess I have faith in Ford because Ford has always wanted to come back and do Indiana Jones 5. He's passionate about Indiana Jones.
Yeah, it's the opposite of how he feels about Star Wars.
Yeah, like people are like
where he's always talking trash about Star Wars.
Indiana Jones. Like, he pops up. He's just like, oh well, I like this one. But they say Star Wars, like, oh, he's dead. Yeah, so it's like it's over. I killed him.
But I think Red Letter Media hit the nail on the head in his in the Plinkett review of Crystal Skull, where he's like, no one wants to be old. The appeal of Indiana Jones is that he's what all men want to be. Nobody wants to be old.
Yeah, that's true.
He's like, what if you'd made a reboot of Fast and Furious and cast all the same actors 50 years from now, and you called it Less Fast and Not So Furious? It's not going to be as good.
I do love Plinkett. He's great. Okay. All right, so I think that's that on that story. Now that we've calmed ourselves down. Okay. Bandit, I want you to go look at the trailer for Sausage Party. Be careful when you Google it. All right, guys? We're going to get Bandit's reaction on the podcast. I don't know if Bandit would mind editing things around, but if you want to just put his full reaction there, he can.
You want me to do
make
a reaction video? Yes, I can do that. Woo! Reacting!
Do a reaction video. Look at I'm reacting.
Sausage
Yay.
Party. All right, let's see what comes up.
Careful.
Oh, my God. The Red Band trailer or the official trailer?
Red Band trailer.
Red Band trailer. All right. You should be able to hear this come through the recording too.
Warning, foul language.
Okay, Sony logo.
Welcome, shoppers.
Ketchup, mustard, sausages and buns.
The only thing food wants is to be free. Food wants to be free. Is to go home. Okay.
Set them straight, boys!
But then they're going to be eaten.
We've got one!
Yes, we're chosen.
Yes!
Yeah!
We've been chosen together.
Hey, Brenda, you and me.
I'm so happy that God's put our packages together.
Because we belong together.
It's like we were made for each other.
Ready, boys!
Feels amazing. Oh, yes. I'm the first to enter eternity.
Like my Star Wars water is reacting.
Oh no. The potato's going to die.
Pipes, the pipes.
It's going to get peeled.
Oh, Jesus, fuck! Oh, gummy skin! She's peeling me fucking stuff! Fuck!
Oops.
It's swearing.
They're eating children! Fucking children!
Oh, this is awful. I love it.
So, you have learned the terrible truth.
I gotta tell everyone.
No one will believe you.
I have to try. Everyone will die otherwise.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Fuck me, right?
Run for your fucking lives!
Man.
Want to
I don't
see
know about that.
shit?
I wonder if there's a blender.
It'll fuck you.
Oh, that's good. There
for
has to
life.
be. There has to be. Something
Good
in a
luck.
smoothie.
Have fun.
Yeah, there we go. Wow. Well, now that we've done the reaction video,
Yeah.
you know, it's funny that it's like, oh, it's so horrible because they're eating us, but like they're actual sausages, so they were animals.
Yeah, it's a thing.
So like
right?
the same thing happened to make
this
them
is this
food
is
in
like
the
the I
first
think
place.
they said this, like Seth Rogen said this in an interview. This is like the next step from like Babe or something, where you get to know the animal before they go to the slaughterhouse. This one's more just like, okay, so the animals have been killed. Now it's from the actual food's perspective.
Now the food is the food
Yeah.
is sentient. Man, even vegetarians are going to feel guilty with this. Like, that was visceral when she was peeling the potato.
When those carrots were being chopped up, I was like, ooh.
It's like, she's taking off my skin.
They're eating children. Yeah, that was. Yeah, I think my favorite thing about this was the shock value of the not only the gruesome quote unquote violence, but the swearing as well. Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
the swearing is what put it's off guarding. But I'm just excited for the parents to take their kids to see this movie. I'm so excited.
I did not know that was going to happen. I thought it was
Yeah.
a kids movie.
Well, it is.
I thought
essentially.
it's like, oh, we're chosen. I thought it was going to be a kids movie, and they just sort of ignore the fact that they get eaten.
Yeah.
But yeah, wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It really is. I think my favorite part is when my favorite part is when it does like the Saving Private Ryan kind of homage where you just see like this guy like this like I think it's like a bag of spaghetti or whatever, just like putting his stuff back inside of him, like an Oreo, like half its thing ripped out, like its back missing, and he's trying to stick it on the wrong way. Like that's amazing. That's great.
It's amazing. I love it.
Yeah. So that was the trailer for Sausage Party.
I'm definitely going to see that.
Yeah, I'm excited for the parents to take their kids to see this movie, and like 5 minutes in. Is it me or does the hot dog bun look weird? Maybe it's just me. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that the hot dog bun is the female and the sausage is the male. And it's like, we were made for each other. It's like, yeah, okay, we get it.
That's Seth Rogen. And the best part about this, they probably came up with this when they were high. Seth Rogen and Evan and all those guys.
Sure
they were probably high when they came up with this, but it looks so funny. It looks so great. Unlike Kevin Smith, who makes movies when he's high, and you get Tusk.
Yeah, I can't wait for Moose Jaws. That's going to be really good. Jaws with the moose.
Yeah. Can't wait for Anti-Claus.
Oh, Kevin Smith. You poor thing.
Did you remember? It's like that Comic-Con story where he followed up the Lucasfilm panel or whatever.
That's right.
And Lucasfilm was like, "Everyone, come out here. Let's go watch this John Williams cuts over lightsaber."
Yes, yeah. He was following Force Awakens and J.J. Abrams. He's like, "We've got a John Williams score opera right across there." So the entire crowd just marches out, and then on the way out, like, J.J. Abrams sees Kevin Smith because he suddenly realizes, oh, he's supposed to be following me, and everyone's literally leaving.
Yeah,
so he's like, dude, I'm so sorry. Kevin Smith's like, oh, it's fine, we'll be okay. And he said there was like 5 people in the audience, and just in the distance they could just hear, do, 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 yay! Like everyone having fun elsewhere.
That's what he gets for making Tusk. Like honestly, but apparently, according to him, like he's padded the story out. And apparently, there weren't 5 people; there were like a couple hundred in there. I don't buy that for a second.
They were probably
like
all
20.
media because they're like, oh, this is our job, but we like to be in the other room.
Oh yeah, they're just like like one guy has like a cup to the door, like, oh, I can hear it. It's the Force theme, guys. Like, all right. So that was the trailer for Sausage Party. Okay,
that was amazing. I'm glad that I had no idea what that was about.
I all I knew is that it was going to be R-rated, but I had no idea it was going to be like that. It looks really funny. Hopefully, the novelty won't wear down after 90 minutes. That's my only concern. But Seth Rogen's a clever guy, so I'm excited.
Hopefully, they'll parody enough different stuff throughout it that
I'm hoping like a Toy Story kind of thing. That's what this looks like. Okay, Bandit, do you want to talk about your Ghostbuster news?
Yes. Well, we all remember the Black Thursday of when that trailer dropped and got the worst reception any trailer ever has online. It got twice as many thumbs down as it got thumbs up. Following that,
139 dislikes or something, like 139,000 dislikes or something like that.
Yep. Following that, Sony has fired their director of online marketing, and they sent out bots to delete all the negative comments, but the bots have been specifically calibrated to not delete sexist and racist comments. So people having a go at the black lady or making sexist because it's all women, they leave those to create the illusion that anyone who doesn't like this trailer, they're just racist and sexist. It's not going to work, Sony. Your trailer's terrible. Your movie's terrible. That's why people don't like it. And
that's a new low even for Sony. Like, come on, Sony.
Yeah.
What are you doing? What are you doing? Come on, Sony.
Well, it's going to be a hard lesson, but I hope they learn it. But also, there's a YouTube channel called Midnight's Edge that does like a breakdown of all the different stuff that's going on behind the scenes. He did a really good breakdown of Fantastic Four, like before, during, and after, and the aftermath and all that stuff. He's looked at some of the rumors of business that's happened on set, and it's eerily similar to the stuff we heard about Fantastic Four before it came out. So Sony has now made all of the cast and all of the crew sign new non-disclosure agreements, which basically gags them from saying anything negative about the movie after it comes out, probably because they're anticipating another Fantastic Four, where even the actors involved and the director himself went on social media and that and said this is a bad movie. So they're trying to minimize the damage as much as possible by gagging everyone involved. So don't expect any of the actors to admit that Ghostbusters is probably not a good movie, because they can't. They'll be sued if they do.
The worst part about this is going back to the Van Forster comparison. They never actually saw the movie. I don't think. I remember there was a press tour or whatever a week before, and people were just, and there was I think one person admitted that they hadn't seen it yet, or at least they hadn't seen a quote unquote full cut. But it's weird because all they're doing is making all the naysayers and the purists, and yes, some of the racists and sexists out there just seem so what's the word I'm looking for? So pleased and so proud of all their negativity and preconceived notions and judgment. All you're doing, Sony, is saying, yeah, this movie actually does suck, so don't worry about it. No, just you keep your head held high and just say, yeah, we're proud of this movie. What does Paul Feig supposed to think about this? Has Paul Feig made a bad movie or something? I don't understand what's going on here. It's confusing me. I don't know. It's bad.
Well, it's interesting though, because it's sure they can have NDAs signed for all the cast so that they say nothing negative. They can send out an army of bots to delete negative reception online. It's not going to change the fact that if people don't respond to it, it's not going to do well. So it'll be interesting as an experiment to see how much hate they're able to sort of curb off by doing this mad censorship campaign against both fans and crew. Be interesting to see from that perspective how much impact that really has. But it's funny because I was thinking about this the other day. It's a lot of the studios were surprised by Deadpool doing so well, but I think for a lot of us on the online community, I was like, well, really, we've been saying we want a movie like that for a long time. So I think the internet is a little bit like the canary in the coal mine. It's kind of like the engine for which change eventually happens in the mainstream. It sort of starts with the core group of fans online. So if they had noticed that before, they would have been able to make Deadpool a lot sooner, and they would not have been surprised when it came about. So it's interesting to see now it's the same thing here with Ghostbusters. The engine that is the internet has said this is awful, to see how much that communicates into the mainstream as well. Whether it will do a Terminator Genesis job or whatever, that'll be interesting to see.
I think it's funny because right when you were bad-mouthing Sony and you were saying something, the Skype started cutting out. It's just wow, their reach is pretty far, isn't it? Yeah, it was just that's a quick joke. No, I think it's weird because they're doing all this stuff, but people are finding out about it. Why would you stop doing this? Because we're watching you. It's like when Fox subtly pulled Fan Forster 2 off their schedule. We all noticed. We all know something was missing there, guys. We're not idiots. We're the internet. We're not idiots. Yeah. We figure things out. But
I suppose on the other hand, though, if you and I, if we were Sony and we were what could we do? We're well, we can't not release the movie now because we need to try to get back as much money as we can. So what can you do? I don't know what I would do.
You edit a better trailer and release it in May.
Yeah.
That's what you do, because think about it, think about when Guardians of the Galaxy was coming out. What was the people weren't this negative on it, but just using that as an example, what was the main kind of mindset? Marvel's first bomb. Guardians will be Marvel's first bomb. It's not going to make any money. What is this weird movie? People are it looks kind of good, but this is going to be Marvel's first bomb. And what they do, Marvel stuck to their guns, and they made it, and they had faith in James Gunn. Properly so, and they put out a great movie that got 90 million opening weekend, opening weekend numbers that most Marvel movies don't do. It's at the time didn't do. There's it's bothering. Sony's doing this all wrong.
Yeah, it's interesting you bring up Guardians of the Galaxy because a lot of people were skeptical about Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm getting tongue-tied. Guardians of the Galaxy, but once that first trailer hit, everyone was on board because they did it right. this Ghostbusters is the exact opposite.
I'm done. If you really like the last,
I'm
thing
agreeing
Sony
with you.
can
I'm
do,
just saying that. Yeah,
I know. I'm not trying to argue, but
they've
like the
done
last
the exact opposite of what Guardians of the Galaxy did.
like the last thing Sony needs to do, like if I were them at this point, if they wanted to try to keep the bad press away, quote unquote, just take down the trailer. Oh, if you are really so intent on trying to keep this negativity from arising, take down the trailer and in May release a new one. That's all you have to. It's a YouTube video. Take down the YouTube trailer, and that'll create some more press. But whatever. That's the last thing you need. Don't worry about Ghostbusters right now. Let Paul Feig do his work. Leave the marketing at bay for now. Release some posters. Release some more pictures. Maybe a TV spot. And then in May, make one heck of a new trailer because, my God, does it look terrible.
I think you're right. Yeah, that's probably the best shot they've got at making their money back is to go back, do reshoots, put some funny jokes in, make a really good trailer. And even if it totally misrepresents the movie, as long as it tricks them into going, you'll at least make your money back. That's the best shot they got right now.
It's like when Fantastic Four, there was always rumors of that Doctor Doom photo came out, and you're like, man, that looks terrible, and people were just like, give it time, and then they released that first trailer, which I was actually quite a big fan of. Like, oh man, this looks really interesting. I like the tone about it. They're not showing us a lot, but I was into this, and it got me back on board with the movie. And then the trailers got me back on board as well, and then. The things started coming out about, they're not having any press screenings. Oh, they're not having any press screenings for a week. They're not having any till Wednesday. You know what? No press screenings. Yeah, it's like,
no.
That's not. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll know if they don't have any press screenings and they release the movie to the press on Thursday evening, we'll know the truth because only bad movies do that.
Yeah.
Even Star Wars had press screenings on Tuesday, so we'll see what happens.
Mind you, it's like. When I showed this trailer to my sister, because my sister, she's like not in this kind of world that we live in at all.
Right.
So she's kind of like my touchstone where I can, if I want to get an idea what normal people think about stuff, when I told her about Batman vs. Superman, as it was called back then in the early days, like the first thing she says is like, why would they be fighting?
Yeah, why are they fighting?
Yeah, that's how a normal person reacts. Like,
that's my mom thought. She's like, why are they fighting? Yeah.
Yeah. And like when I showed her the Ghostbusters trailer, she's just like, yeah, it looks pretty funny. So who knows? Maybe it's just.
Oh yeah, the general public doesn't care about an okay trailer. Like the general public is just like, I'll go see it. It looks okay.
Yeah,
it's Ghostbusters. That's the general public is like, I'll go see it.
Yeah, so it's very interesting to see how all this turns out for Sony.
If the movie's great, then I think we'll be okay. If the movie's good, we'll be okay. It's if the movie sucks, because that's like another big studio bomb for Sony after making Spider-Man 2. It's like they got all these good grapes with Spider-Man back, and they're still trying to subtly like sweep, like they're a DA and Daredevil, sweep this thing underneath the rug, and it's not working. It's not working, isn't it? It's gonna fall apart.
Well, it's. I think the movie will be about as good as the trailer, because one of the things on the Midnight Edge YouTube channel is during the Sony hacks, some emails were leaked that had a rough outline of a proposed Ghostbusters reboot, and it's almost exactly what we've seen in the trailers. Like, as he's reading out the basic summary of the plot that was given in this email, he's like showing all the bits in the trailers, and you're like, yeah, that's what they've done. Like, they might have changed a few things, but basically that's what they've done.
Well, it's not the plot that's
really
the problem,
that
though. It's not the plot it's not the plot. It's the way the trailer's cut. The trailer, like, the jokes aren't landing, but that's 2.5 minutes as opposed to 90 minutes. Like, did the email have like specifically detailed every single joke that's going to be in the movie? I mean, like, Ghostbusters is essentially an action comedy. The action looks okay. If the comedy works, I think we'll be fine. Paul Feig's great at doing comedy, but that's usually R-rated, so I don't know how he's going to handle PG-13 comedy. I don't know. This is
It did say in the email that it was going to be the Ghostbusters were going to kind of be more of a branch of the government.
Okay.
That was like protecting the public from ghosts, but then the government couldn't confirm that ghosts were real, so they also couldn't confirm that the Ghostbusters were working for them. So apparently there was supposed to be some joke in it where there's like the government like press agent will go out and will like say these Ghostbusters are a menace, and then we'll get behind the curtain and say the Ghostbusters, so sorry about that, you know. And apparently it escalates comedically where like she has to like condemn them publicly, but then it's friends with them, and the attacks get more and more personal as the movie goes on.
That sounds
which
very,
does
that sounds
sound funny, actually.
That sounds funny.
Yeah.
like eventually it's just like, these are terrorists against the United States. I think you guys are great.
And I hear her husband cheated on her.
Yeah, it's like,
so sorry about
and
that.
but look what she did in high school. Seriously. Yeah, they broke into school. Yeah,
that's one thing that we don't see any sign of in the trailer, so they might have cut that out of the movie.
Well, it's a 2.5-minute trailer, so, and there's not, you know, I'm not giving up hope yet. All right, let me see another trailer. Because I like the international trailer. I think that was cut better for me. That's just me. All Sony really needs to do is just release a tweet that says, "I ain't afraid of no trolls." That's all he really needs. I just thought that joke when I was walking up to close my.
Who are you going to call? Bot busters. Send the bots out.
Cuts to Spider-Man. It's like so. Does Amy Pascal still work at Sony? I don't know. She was one of the head people at Sony back when Spider-Man failed. So I wonder if she still works there.
Actually, no. A tweet from Sony could actually turn it around. That I ain't afraid of no trolls.
Yeah, that's all you gotta do. That's all you gotta do. Okay. Okay, I think that's all the movie news we have here.
Okay.
All right, Bandit, we had some homework.
This week, each one of you has a homework assignment. You're gonna go out, you're gonna start a fight with a total stranger. You're gonna start a fight, and you're gonna lose.
All right, Bandit, so, homework assignment.
Hang on, just before we start,
Right.
Are we sure we want to do this? Because it's been an hour, and we haven't started talking about 10 Cloverfield Lane yet.
Okay.
Do you maybe want to... All right, I'll tell you what, look, yeah, I'm just worried about this going, like, super, super long. Why don't we just set a time limit? Like, why don't we say 15 minutes?
Okay,
Walking
I can
Dead.
time out for 15 minutes for Walking Dead. Okay.
All right.
I don't have that much to say. Okay, I'll be okay.
Okay,
all right,
sure.
Let's see. And I'll start it when we start talking. Okay. All right, Bandit. So, homework. Yeah, okay, so essentially, we didn't have a lot of homework this week, but since it's been a couple weeks since we've talked about The Walking Dead, we're going to take a few minutes aside here to talk about The Walking Dead and some of what's going on. So,
Yes.
Bandit...
I should say I do have homework planned, though, because Trilbee gave me the homework of watching The Gift, and I think last week he gave you the same homework of watching The Gift.
I did not do it.
Yep,
yeah.
me neither. But if we both watch it for next time, then we can talk about it.
It's still on my list. It's a long list of movies.
Well,
to
I've
watch.
downloaded it. It's on my computer. I mean, I've purchased it legally in a hard copy.
Yeah,
I just haven't got around to
physical
watching it yet.
You went to the theater and saw it, so yeah, so you're fine.
That's right. Yes.
Okay, all right. So, Bandit, give me some of your thoughts. What do you think of these past couple episodes of The Walking Dead?
I really liked them.
That's good for you.
I did. I really liked them.
That's okay.
Yeah, okay, so we got 2 episodes. We had the one where Jesus takes them to his camp, and they agree to take out Negan. And then we've had 3 episodes, haven't we? Then we had they attacked the base. Yeah. And then we had Claire and Maggie got captured.
Carol and Maggie.
Carol, sorry.
Yeah.
Claire,
if I don't say anything, they will. Yeah.
So why don't we just talk overall about all 3 of them?
Okay, so here's my thing. I really enjoyed the episode where Jesus takes them to his camp. What I liked is that it shows.
Like that? I don't remember much about that.
I just like the fact that it shows that the group they're getting cocky, and deservingly so. They've won every victory they've faced. I think it sets up that maybe things are going to go bad for these guys soon. But essentially, I also really like the moment where Rick kills the guy and everyone looks at him. He's just like, "What?" And his face is just covered in blood, his beard's dripping guts and stuff, and then he's just like, "What?" That was great. But what I don't like about this is how suddenly Carol went from not being in the show to becoming the new Lori, and where she's acting completely irrational, 110%. What is going on with Carol? What is she doing? This is bothering me. Why is she acting like this?
You know what is like when the episode started and she's writing down, book how many people she's killed. I thought she's dead. She's so dead.
Yeah,
because like, you know that they've been captured. So I was like, okay, either her or Maggie are probably going to get beaten to death by Negan soon, you know, because it's supposed to happen to Glenn, but who knows. So as soon as that happened, I'm like, well, they're not going to have a pregnant woman dead, so I'm like, she's going to die. So dead. And she didn't, which I'm glad, because I don't want her out of the show. But you know what they're trying to do? They're trying to Morgan, I'm doing air quotes, Carol, is that her name?
They're trying to Jedi Carol, yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't work. Like, because think about it, she's now has the exact same arc that he had. And because, see, they've already tried to redeem him. Because, like, remember, he and Carol had the whole thing about the wolf, of, like, should they kill him, should they not kill him? And they got into a fight over it, and the wolf escaped. Morgan was eventually proved right, because remember, he's like, I'm trying to appeal to this wolf. I believe he can turn good. And the wolf eventually did turn good. He sacrificed himself so that nurse woman could get away.
Because he knew he was going to die anyways. I don't think that counts, but that's whatever. Whatever.
Oh, yeah, that's true. But he at least kind of showed a good side.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I guess they're trying to redeem Morgan, so... But now they're trying to do that with Claire, that she's gone through a crazy phase. Now she's trying to... Carol. Why do I keep calling her Claire? Carol.
You watching House of Cards?
Oh, yeah, that's probably it, yeah.
Oh, hit my mic.
But they're trying to do the same thing with her, and it just doesn't work. Morgan's... I'm sorry, Morgan, but you're an idiot. You need to accept the reality of the world that you're in. Carol is right. She should not be having second thoughts. She should not be hesitating. And, like, I love the whole thing that she was... playing up, being like a helpless idiot to put them off their guard. I thought, yes, that's good. But then once she gets free, I was like, oh no, that really has affected her.
That's what annoyed me. That's what got to me. It's like, okay, so she's putting on an act. No, she was acting like a whiny little female dog the entire time. Like, what are you doing? This is not. You cannot have 2.5 seasons of Carol just being like just this cold-blooded, stone-faced, just killer,
and then she just turns
trying to survive.
On a dime. She even like
literally on a dime,
and she even uses. You remember Morgan was like, he's always like, just walk away. I don't want to have to kill you. And Carol does the exact same thing. She's got the gun pointed at that chick. She's like, run.
Speaking of which,
she doesn't.
Maybe the worst.
Don't give her Morgan's line. It's not going to work.
Some of the worst Walking Dead acting I've seen in quite some time has been with that ginger lady. Holy God, is she awful? I could not believe how bad she was. I was like, it's one of the things where you're watching, and I didn't buy her being this ruthless not necessarily ruthless, but I didn't buy her when she's talking. She's just like, I had 3 kids, whatever. I lost them. I'm like, I don't care. I'm not invested in what you're telling me. You're not delivering this well. Look, I'm not an actor, but I wasn't connecting with what she was trying to give me here. I don't know. And she was at
least she had a horrible death.
That was nice to see her as a walker. Like half her face is like destroyed. When like the walker's biting, and you see like the flesh tearing to her cheek. I was just like, all right, there you go.
Face, yeah,
yeah, that was great. That was pretty cool. But that's like what 3 minutes out of a 48-minute episode. It's like Walking Dead to me it's doing this weird thing where they're reintroducing every character. Like suddenly Maggie suddenly knows how to take charge, and suddenly Maggie is this powerful character, which now means like Glenn gets no screen time whatsoever, of course. Which now means like Glenn gets to be the background character, which sucks. Which really sucks because they were just trying to develop Glenn and make him an interesting character again, and all of a sudden he's now a background character. I'm here so I get my paycheck, and now Maggie suddenly has moxie that she hasn't had in 3 seasons. Awesome. Awesome. Great.
And also, look, why was Maggie even there? Seriously. Don't take a pregnant woman to a raid on a base of murderers, okay? It's not a good idea.
She almost got the baby. She almost lost the baby. Though that was a cool scene when the lady sliced out her stomach and like the camera turns around and it's Carol.
And then Carol shoots her,
yeah, like that was great. Like Carol, like no regrets. Just that was wonderful. But then again, it's like one moment of the entire episode.
I don't want Carol to become like Morgan. I already don't like Morgan. I don't want Carol. What's cool about Carol is that she's a psycho killer. I want her to stay psycho killer.
Back at the prison when she burned those bodies, I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
And Rick made her leave, and Carol's like, I do it all again. I was like, yes, that's a character. That's a survivor. Yeah. She's more dangerous than Daryl. But it's like, it was nice.
The raid on the Negan sort of base, that was great.
It was.
It just shows how nonchalant a lot of them are. Like they're just. even Glenn, they're just killing these guys in their bed, and I was like, man, that's cold.
To be fair, I'm nervous for Morgan because they've given a black guy character, a black guy character on the show now with this guy with the tied up dreadlocks or whatever. So now I'm nervous. We're like, how many black people do we have on the show now? 3? Yeah, like okay,
I think 3's the number, isn't it? If another one comes, then one of them has to die.
Yeah, 3 or 4 now. I don't know if it's a priest Hispanic or black. I couldn't tell. So
well,
so you got
Okay, so there's
Sasha.
Morgan, there's Michonne.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you can't kill Michonne.
No, so
Morgan I'd be fine with dying, but they probably kill Sasha next.
Sasha, that's what I'm saying. Sasha's the goner because you just introduced another black guy. So
yeah.
Oh boy, how?
I think you're right though. Is like I remember a couple episodes ago you said Negan being introduced is probably the very last thing that's going to happen in the very last episode, and I think you're right because every episode I've been wanting to see Negan for so long, and they've been building him up. I'm like, when are we going to see him? If we haven't seen him yet, they're saving it to the very last episode, which is going to make me so mad.
And then we're going to get, like, one cool scene with Negan at the start of next episode, and then 8 episodes of Walking in the Woods. Walking Dead. Yeah. But a show you put too much of your life into, but you can't stop now.
I got to say, though, I do like the thing that Negan's crew do, where they've got that thing of we're all Negan. That's clever. Because remember, she's like, who's Negan? And the woman said, we're all Negan. And then that guy's like, I'm Negan. And so they shoot him and they're like, good, we've done our job. We can go home now. But they don't know there still is. It's a way of like hiding who the leadership is.
Yeah,
nothing.
It's kind of like what Spectre does, with their number 2s, and like when one dies, one just fills in the role, and the numbers constantly change. Yeah,
you can't cut the head off the snake because you don't know what the head is.
Yeah. It's nice if they would establish that more instead of trying to focus on Carol going through this weird story arc, or Maggie suddenly becoming the leader of the group and taking orders, and Rick taking orders from her. But that's whatever. I got no problem with them I got no problem with them introducing like character change like that, but just based off the history, it's like they'll bring that up for one episode and then just completely forget it, and she'll just go back to being it's
psycho.
Lazy writing.
Why bring it up in the first place if you're going to do that?
It's lazy writing. It's honestly like they just want to give these actors something to do so that they earn their paycheck or whatever. It feels to me like it feels so shady that they're just like the audience is getting bored. Give them something interesting to do. It's like, no, just give me like the reason the first string of episodes in season 6 were so great is that you had not only stuff happening, but you had our characters doing what we would think the characters would do in these situations. When Alexandria gets attacked, we feel for it. When they have to herd off this giant thing of walkers, we were concerned because we felt like there was actual stakes and the characters were being developed as they went along. That all eventually died out, and we eventually had to sit there in a house for 2 episodes because budget, I guess. And now we're getting back into The Walking Dead of where it's just like nothing makes sense anymore. It's bothering me. And they're getting really bad actors. That Ginger was terrible. I really did not like her. Do you see why I don't like this show? Do you see why I do not like this show?
Yeah, it's the show that you love to hate.
Once Negan comes and Negan dies, I'm done. I'm giving up. I'm done. I promise.
I don't think he does die. In the comics, he never dies.
Well,
he hasn't died yet. But
they're going to kill him off.
In the comics, there's a showdown between Rick and Negan, and Rick takes the high road and doesn't kill him, and they just sort of keep him prisoner there in Alexandria. But then I think in the comics now, there's a thing of like Rick and Negan need to sort of join forces to fight this other thing. So which sounds pretty good because Negan seems like a pretty cool character.
But it's AMC, so they'll just be like, Carol will suddenly go crazy again and stab Negan in the face or something. I don't know.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. All right, Walking Dead. All right, I think that's.
Can't wait to see the next episode. It's probably playing right now.
I think it's going to start playing in a couple minutes. Can't wait to watch that in 3 days and be kind of disappointed again. All right, Bandit, let's get to our
feature presentation.
And now, our feature presentation.
All right, guys. So this is our feature presentation: 10 Cloverfield Lane. We're gonna go brief non-spoilers here. Give our thoughts before we go into the full spoilers and talk about it, because it is a film you can definitely spoil. It's a very mysterious film. Bandit, give me your thoughts on the movie. I haven't heard what you thought about it yet.
Well, basically, its story is about. I'll just give an overview, but people have seen it from the trailer anyway. But what the hell? Yeah. Basically, is a woman who's presumably going through a breakup and is like walking out on her boyfriend, something like that, driving to somewhere we don't know. Could be a brother, could be somewhere else. Has a car accident. When she wakes up, she's in this basement, sort of chained to a pole, and giant John Goodman.
He really was a big guy in this one. He was big.
He was massive. He's a big dude. Yeah. Evil John Goodman comes in, who does an amazing job at being a crazy lunatic. And he basically tells her that, well, you're lucky that I found you at the side of the road, because there's been this attack on the country, whether it's nuclear, whether it's chemical, whether it's biological, I don't know. But outside this bunker, everyone's dead. So you're stuck here with me and this other weird guy. And it's sort of like the whole premise is it's based around like a series of, like, you slowly find out, like, is there really a chemical attack outside, or is John Goodman just a weirdo that wants to keep this
the
woman?
thing. It's like, is he right, or is he telling the truth, or is he really just losing his mind?
And even when it unfolds without giving spoilers, it unfolds. So even when you think you know what's going on, it takes a turn and then takes another turn, and it's very expertly written. There's lots of clues that when you think back, which I have been over the last day, you're like, oh, so that's why this happened, and that's why that happened, and
like by the end credits, you're like, without giving anything away, like by the time the end credits roll, you're like, I think I know what happened, but there still might be something else going on here. There are different. Even though they give you a definitive answer to what the question is, it still leaves things open to interpretation that I love. I love that so much.
Now, before we get too much into the story, I guess we should talk about the Cloverfield name first of all.
Okay.
What's your take? Do you think it's a sequel? Do you think it's a sidequel? Do you think it's just sort of part of a new brand?
I think it's set in the universe. Like I said this in my review that I put out on my YouTube channel. Yeah, I finally put out another video. On my YouTube channel, in my review, I said it reminds me a lot of Guardians of the Galaxy in the way that it relates to the MCU.
Sorry, I didn't watch the video too. I was worried you might give a spoiler or something, so I didn't.
No, I tried to be as vague as possible, but it's like with Guardians of the Galaxy, it's basically set. It feels like a separate universe, but it is set in the same universe, and it's linked to the universe by one major connection. And I feel like that's what 10 Cloverfield Lane is. There's one.
Sorry, go on.
Well, it's just like there's one major connection in this movie that kind of links it to what made Cloverfield what it was, without giving anything away. That's essential. That's pretty much all I can say without giving it away spoilers.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I avoided all reviews and all that sort of stuff going in, because I thought, this is a rare occasion where I can watch a movie without having anything spoiled.
Yeah, really.
And so like when I watched the movie, like it wasn't until I came out afterwards and have like listened to some other reviews and watched some other reviews since then that I've heard people talking about, that this is connected to Cloverfield. Because the impression I had watching it and going in, that this isn't a sequel, it's not set in the same universe, but they were trying to build like a franchise around the Cloverfield name. Sort of like that old TV show, The Twilight Zone.
That was my thing.
A series of spooky episodes. And they're not really
a Twilight
connected.
Zone episode. It's a cookbook. Yeah, I know.
They're not really connected. It's just like a bunch of. So that's what I thought. I thought like it's got nothing to do with the Cloverfield movie. It's just part of that brand. And walking out, I was like, I hope they do that. I hope they continue to make these sort of thriller, kind of mysterious movies that they don't necessarily need to be connected. So I didn't think they were really connected at all, and in a weird kind of way I think trying to make it connect to Cloverfield kind of diminishes it for some reason.
I just think without giving away spoilers, where they go with it, I think there's clearly, I think in literally in one sentence you can connect the two movies, and I'll talk about that in spoilers. Like that's really all you have to do. And if we're gonna talk about what we thought about the movie in general, I unabashedly loved the first 80 minutes of this movie. I loved the like everything from opening
That's like
credits
90% of the movie because it's not really a long movie, is it?
I know. No, it's like an hour 40 minutes. I loved 80 minutes of this movie. It's so great and it's so tension filled. And it's like I think one of the reviews on the trailers, it's like it'll make you squirm, laugh, and like shaking your seat all at the same time. Like, yeah, that's really true. It gets to a point where you're just like, man, where is this going to go? When it does go there, you're like, man, that's crazy. And then when it keeps going, you're like, okay, that's awesome. And then when it keeps going, I'm like, okay, that's all right. And then it keeps going, you're just like, oh, all right.
Yeah, it takes
and then
a
it's
bit
over.
too far.
Yeah,
at the
and
end,
then it's over. And you're just like, darn.
We'll save that for spoilers. But I think like when I came out of this, I was like, you know, it's a shame this came out just after the Oscars because John Goodman.
That's what I'm saying.
Man.
That's a question. Let me find that question right now while we're talking about it, because someone asked a question on the Facebook page.
Sure. Well while you're looking for it, I'll just finish because I think John Goodman, he's so good because it's like, you know, different characters they can do nice guy and they can do crazy. John Goodman, he's got nice guy, he's got crazy, but then he's got like 10 different levels in between there.
You reminded me, and
like you can go take us up to slightly the next level of crazy, then slightly the next level, and there's all these different variations throughout the movie. I was like, man, he's good.
Good. One of my lines in my review was like, I said, you know, he reminds me of like Kathy Bates in Misery meets Michael Clark Duncan in The Green Mile with a little bit of Wilson Fisk thrown in there, where you're just like, I like you, but I don't like you, and you make me uncomfortable, yet I trust you. It's this huge thing, and it's done in so subtly different ways. Like, when you first meet him, like, oh, that guy's a dick. And then like 5 minutes later, like, oh man, he's great. And then it just keeps going back and forth until it's revealed, and it's so awesome. And to answer Ben Haynes' question, I think John Goodman was worthy of an Oscar nomination in this movie.
Definitely.
I think he is incredible.
Best supporting actor for next Oscars, even though it's a whole year away. I'm going to be rooting for John Goodman.
Yeah, there must be some great performances this year because
Please
John
don't have
Goodman
a heart attack, John Goodman, between now and then.
Yeah, man, come on, stay with us. Stay with us, John, please. He's great. What'd you think of the lead actress?
She was really good,
wasn't she?
Impressively good. Yeah.
Yeah, Bruce Willis's daughter from Die Hard 4 was great. Oh my god!
Is that really her?
I think so, Mary Elizabeth Winstead. But she's also in the Thing remake. She's good in that too.
She was great though. I loved her performance and I loved her actor too.
Typical Mary Sue. No, I'm kidding. But we're gonna get to, and like without giving anything away, I think
she's the anti-Mary Sue, isn't she?
Essentially, and because my thing is like, I think we're officially in the point now, which is why I don't think the Sherlock Christmas special worked all that well. But I think women, we're at a point where women don't have to sit there and look how empowered we are. We are at a point where women can be actual characters, and we don't have to acknowledge that she's a woman. And I think that's what makes this movie stand out among a lot right now. But I think we're officially at a point of where women can just be characters again, and don't have to worry about them being a woman and being awesome. I don't know. It's something that stood out for me that made me happy.
Yeah, agreed. Absolutely. So, like, I'd wholeheartedly recommend it to anyone who wants to go out and see it. And the less you know about the movie, the better. And whether you've seen the previous Cloverfield or not, doesn't mean anything. It doesn't matter. If you haven't seen the other Cloverfield, you'll still enjoy this just as much.
In fact, you might even enjoy it more if you hadn't seen the original.
Yeah, probably.
Because you had no preconceived notion of what's going on. Okay. All right. What would you give it out of 10?
Ooh. You know, I'd actually give it like a 9 out of 10.
I agree.
And that's only because of some stuff we'll get into in spoilers at the very end where they took it too far and it sort of ruined a bit of the mysteriousness and just kind of went a bit dumb. But that's the only reason it doesn't get a 10.
Well, my honest reaction was just like a 7.8, almost up there to an 8 out of 10. But the more I think about it, the more I realize how much I loved the first like 80 minutes. So I'll bump it up to like an 8.75 out of 10, nearly 9 out of 10. But I can't get it there because of what we're going to talk about in spoilers, which means is that officially from this point on, we're going to be talking about nothing but spoilers. If you haven't seen the movie, go, goodbye, come back later.
Time code's down below. Click on whatever it says there for listener questions.
Jump to
or just questions. Scrub forward to that. Okay.
Yeah, all right. No, I want no complaining. All right, 3, 2, 1, spoilers. Aliens? Are you kidding me? Seriously? All right. See, that wasn't my problem, though. That wasn't my problem. My problem
What
was
would you have
not
liked
the
it to be? The Russians or like a human attack?
My problem wasn't. My issue wasn't the aliens. All right, I was completely fine. I honestly thought that was a cool reveal when you think it's a helicopter and it's an alien spaceship.
Yeah.
I thought that was such a cool reveal, and her reaction was just like, "Oh, come on!" Like that was my reaction. I was like, "Oh my god, come on, guys!"
Yeah.
But I was cool with it. I was even cool with her saving herself from the alien spaceship. But my
Really?
thing,
I hated that. That was yeah.
my thing at that point, she'd been fighting so hard for her life. For her to just get taken out there wouldn't have fit the movie. But my issue was really ultimately in like the last few minutes is where she's driving on the street and we get this Sarah Connor-esque Will Smith and I Am Legend message of like, we are the resistance, we must come back and fight. And then like the movie ends with her trying to become a fighter. I'm like, no, that's not what this movie is.
Yeah.
This is not a freedom fighters movie.
Well, I think that was an effort to because she tells the story earlier on of like her kind of arc is she tells the story earlier on that when she was a kid, her dad was kind of abusive, but her older brother would always protect her, and she always thought when she gets older she'll step in if stuff like that happens. But then she was in this situation where she didn't. And like then, at the start of the movie, we see she's running away from a situation with her boyfriend or whatever. So the whole thing is basically she's learning to stand up against evil dad.
I'm not saying it doesn't make sense. I just don't think it fits with this kind of movie.
I think what they were trying to do with that of like her turning left and going to fight is now that's the completion of her arc. But the thing is, she already completed her arc.
Yeah,
when she got out, John Goodman and escaped.
She
from the
got
bunker.
out of there. That was her arc. I think it would have been great.
You didn't really need it at that point.
You either end the movie one of two ways. You end it like maybe you see the alien spaceship and she runs in the barn. The music's building and it's like, oh my god, like something's banging on the barn door. It's probably that alien we see, and like it cuts on her face, and then cut to black. The movie's over. That would have been great. Or she does the whole thing with the spaceship, and then she drives off. We see the sign, 10 Cloverfield Lane, and the movie there. You don't need to have this whole thing of like...
I think Red Letter Media said it would have been good if she stands up on the car, she sees the ship in the distance, and she goes, are you kidding me? And then it just cuts to black.
So you don't see the alien spaceship, or you just...
No, you do see it.
Okay,
and she says, just like how it happens, but cut out the whole thing of the weird alien that looks like a part of the male anatomy, and then the weird floating alien that looks like a part of the female anatomy.
The weird Attack
cut
the Block
all that
like
out.
dogs. Have you seen the movie Attack the Block with John Boyega from a couple of years ago?
Yeah.
The aliens look very similar to those in Attack the Block, like this weird dog alien thing.
I will say I did like the aliens' design, that they seem to be a mesh between. They were basically cyborgs. They were a mixture between like, organic animals mixed with technology, so they were like cyborg creatures.
It reminded me of General Grievous.
Even the ship itself was a big flying thing, really.
That's what I think. I thought it reminded me of like, and I think this is why. And I said it earlier. There's one sentence in how you can kind of connect the films, and I could just like. The alien that was in Cloverfield is the same species as the one that was here. That's ultimately all you have to say, because the designs are, kind of similar in the sense of that. I feel like the spaceship itself wasn't necessarily their actual bodies, but it reminded me more like armor of like they have on armor and and the tentacles or whatever. I thought it looked cool. I love the green gas. That kind of builds to my other point of like John Goodman's character. When you get the answer of is he crazy? Yes, but he's also right. That kind of helps. It's like no, he's kind of right. He is, because the air is unbreathable at night. Is it
only at night? Is it? I thought it had cleared up by then.
Well, my thing is like, because it happens at night, right? Once night hits, the house lights up and we see the alien ship rise and the gas.
Well, that was the ship was spraying the gas out.
Oh, I've seen. It's been a week since I've seen the movie.
You must have looked away. The ship was spraying it out because they were like, there's a human, gas him, sort of thing.
Oh, okay, yeah. So it's crazy. I think
it would have to be because she sees the birds flying over. So if it was still gas at night, there probably wouldn't be any wildlife, I guess.
Because she gets out during the day. Like when she gets out, it's like dusk. So I thought like once the sun set out every night, they spray the gas. But then again, I've been wrong before.
It doesn't really matter anyway.
Yeah,
yeah.
But I think with like my favorite thing about this movie is. The moment John Goodman gets that bucket of acid, that's my favorite chunk of the movie. From that till she gets out is so awesome. I have a minor complaint about the whole air vent thing.
Did you? I thought he was going to shove that guy's face in the thing of acid. I thought that's what he was going to do, but he just shot him, and I was like, "Well, that's better than what I thought he was going to do."
I thought he was gonna. I thought he was gonna like pour it on him or something.
Yeah, or he's got his gloves. He'll just splash it at him or something.
I thought he was gonna like kick it on him, and I knew for a fact.
To him later.
Yeah, my thing like with the, and I guess we'll get to my vent problem later. But I really loved when he pulls out the ass and he's like, "This is like highly corrosive," and he sticks the scissors in there, and you're just like, "Oh no, she needed that," and then they stick the other stuff in there, and and then just point blank shoots the guy. Awesome. I was honestly legitimately shocked and freaked out. This is the best horror film I've seen in like a year, and it's scary, but it's not like horror movie jump scare scary. It's scary in how unsettling it made you.
There were a couple of jump scares though because of the sound.
That door, the door.
Yeah.
Those are effective.
The car accident scared the crap out of me.
Really? I was waiting for it. It was the car crash angle. I was waiting for it.
Yeah. I knew it was going to be a car crash because but no, it got me because maybe it was just cinema I was in, but it was so loud.
Oh yeah, no, this movie's very loud.
Especially the bit at the end when the aliens attacking, where it's constant crashing and bashing. I had to block my ears. It was so bloody loud.
This movie's
turn
too
it down, damn it!
Yeah, I was going to say the movie's too loud. You have to get that thing in your ear. The movie's too loud. What'd you say, Sonny?
But I think
I want to stay home.
The car accident got me off guard because I knew she was going to crash, but I didn't know. I think because it happens when the phone rings and you're like, oh, is she going to pick it up again? So like your mind's occupied by that, and then boom.
Do you know who the voice of the boyfriend is?
No, who was it?
It's Bradley Cooper.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what I said. I was like, really? Yeah, it's on
that he was on it.
Yeah,
I think you were going to say it's J.J. Abrams.
That would have been cool too if it's J.J. Abrams. That would have been nice. It's like, look, man, I'm sorry, but I'm sorry you didn't see Star Wars, right? But we can go. It's okay. We'll go again. It's J.J. Abrams. I'm sorry I ripped off New Hope. Okay, I promise I'll be better next time. No, but it's. No, but I think the door, every time the door closed and opened, every time it got me. It was just like, that was, like, even when you see the door close, it's just a loud sound. Ooh, the movie uses sound to its advantage.
Yeah.
I didn't like the scene where she's trying to get, when she pours the acid on John Goodman, and she's trying to get out, and John Goodman
in the vent, yeah.
I don't like that. Because
he would
have stabbed her. There's no way. He knows exactly where she is. He stabbed in front of her. Okay, I'll give you that first time he missed. All right, fine. But once she's like what, 5'8"? So like that's like 5'8" that you're just missing. If you're that bad, John Goodman, you need to try. People be like, but he had acid on his face. No, thank you. I don't buy that for a second. Like, I do like how he was.
True. I mean, if they want to have that, then they should show a shot of him downstairs where he's like struggling to like climb over furniture to reach up to where the air vent is.
Or maybe like he's
while
his
face is burning.
Maybe he's blinded or something, or something like
but
that.
I guess they didn't want to cut away because they want to stay with her in the vent, so it's more claustrophobic or something.
Yeah.
But I think like because I was thinking about it, like the way that the tension sort of builds and twists and turns in this is like it actually reminded me a bit of Mike Myers was talking about. Like with comedy and with improv, when like comedians or actors or whatever are improvising a scene, he says like the rule of improv is like if someone's doing a bit, you don't say no and cut it off. You say yes and. So the rule is yes and. So it's like you go with it and you build on top of it. And I think like in terms of a thriller, this was kind of like the scary version of that, where it's like, is John Goodman crazy? Yes. And there really is a virus out there.
Yeah.
And he's also killed the last girl that he had. And there's also aliens who like keep building.
I was going to say, it's like, is he crazy? Yes. And he's also right. And there's aliens. It's like, it does keep kind of building.
Because after she goes through the vent the first time to like fix the air vents, it's interesting because it's got you just to the point where you're starting to think they're all okay.
Yeah, so
you're at that point you're like, everyone's cool, it's good. You know, John Goodman's kind of okay, but then she like finds an earring, and you're like, oh.
my thing at that point was just like, you know what, John Goodman, he is unsettled probably, but you know what, there's two people there. If things do go bad, he maybe has an episode, it will be okay. But he doesn't. I don't think at that point I was just like, he doesn't mean to be a creepy, really creepy guy. Yeah. He means well, but.
He just lives on a farm by himself, so he doesn't know how to talk without scaring people, that kind of thing, yeah.
Little autistic spectrum there, a bit of a recluse, but no. Then she finds the earring, you're right, and you're just like, oh my god, what? And then he shows the picture, and it's like, no, that's the girl that went missing 2 weeks ago. Just like,
actually, let's talk about that other guy, too. What did you think of him?
Yeah, he was great. It's a shame the movie doesn't. It's a shame that he's going to get overshadowed by our two leads, but that's not his fault. It's like the movie. The writers gave him exactly what they needed to give him, and he was great in what he was able to do. That's right.
I mean, that actor, that's the kind of character. Like, if you're casting that role, it's kind of a thankless role. Because, people are going to focus on the other two. They're not going to focus on you. So considering that he was kind of put in a role that's a thankless role, I think he did an amazing job, and he really did.
Considering the fact that he had a red shirt. He had a red shirt from the moment he entered that room.
Yeah.
Every moment he went like, oh, he's dead. He's a goner. But
he did a good job as well. Because he was great. He's like... He's a little bit dumb, but he's not so dumb that he can't see that John Goodman might be crazy.
He reminds me of what I think I would be like if I was stuck in a bunker. Like, people would just be sitting there awkward, and I'd just be like, so, this is really great. Like, he's trying to start his conversation. He's like, you got Monopoly? I will beat you.
I love that bit. That is so true, what he said.
Yeah.
He's like, we might be here for 12 years. If we start a game of Monopoly now, we might be half done by the time we're out of here.
Yeah, it's like, dude, Monopoly's going for hours. Quick side tangent on Monopoly. Monopoly is the game that literally ruins friendships. I got a Star Wars
friendly game at all.
No, because the whole point is to screw over your best friend.
Yeah, and the only way to end the game is to crush someone when they're at their most vulnerable. So if you have a heart, you're like, oh, I don't want to take that last $10.
I got Star Wars
Monopoly. So it's like...
I got Star Wars Monopoly and a couple of days ago for a gift, and we played it, and I was playing with my friend Christian, and Coruscant is the blue properties, and I got a Monopoly on Coruscant. And he landed on it, and so it's like an $800 that you have to pay.
Actually, speaking of games and speaking of crazy people, since this is all related to 10 Cloverfield Lane, and here, you want to play a game, Trey?
Sure. Sure.
It only takes a second. Our listeners listening can play this as well. This is the Psychopath game. This is a game that psychiatrists have asked people, and only psychopaths gives this very certain answer. So here's the scenario you give to people. This is a real thing too. The scenario you give to people is, okay, there's this girl, she's at a funeral, and she's at the funeral of her mother. And at the funeral, she meets this other guy, and they really hit it off. And she's like, he's the one. Yeah, he's the one. I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. Then, whatever happens, and he ends up leaving, and she doesn't get his name, she doesn't get his number, no way to contact this guy. Okay, here's the question. A week later, this girl murders her sister. Why did she murder her sister? That's the question.
I've heard this before.
Now, give it time so people listening can try to figure out, why do you think this girl killed her sister in that scenario?
Why did she kill her sister?
Yeah, that's the question. Why do you think?
Oh, duh, so she can meet the guy again.
How?
Because there'll be another funeral. Duh.
That's the answer that only psychopaths know, Trey.
Really?
Yes.
No kidding?
Nobody guessed. You guessed the psychopath answer. Oh my god, I better not make you angry.
It said Force Awakens was what again? No,
see,
it's like...
I figured, I thought, it's probably the sister started dating the guy, so she killed him. She killed her.
Well, my first thought was...
that's the answer. Only psychopaths think, she killed her sister because she thought the guy would show up at the sister's funeral too.
Yeah. My first thought...
Trey, you're a psychopath.
My first thought was,
maybe John Goodman.
My first thought was maybe the sister was having an affair with the guy, but I'm like, no, that's too easy.
Okay, so you're not a full psychopath.
No, but I mean, that was my final answer was the
Trey.
One.
I'm serious. Like, they asked that question to everyone, and only psychopaths get that answer.
That's awesome. Awesome. Apparently, I'm a psychopath.
Wow, I'm glad I'm on the other side of the planet to you. you, man.
Yeah. I will cross
I should not make you angry about Force Awakens.
I will cross the Pacific. I will cross the Pacific Ocean if I have to.
So there you go, listeners at home. If you got the same answer, if you thought the same thing that Trey did, then you're a psychopath too.
Yeah.
I told that to my friends, none of them got it right, but then they were like, "Oh, I wish I got the psychopath answer." And I was like, "Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Why do we wish that we got the psychopath answer? It's not a good thing."
Because you want to be the clever one. I don't know. It's like you know how many people out of 10 would ever pick the psychopath answer? I don't know.
Well, I guess I reckon if you gave that question to like a cop or
100 people, if you gave to 100
would probably
people,
guess the right one because they're trying to. They know how people like that think.
But if you asked 100 people, I'm sure like 4 or 5 would do the psychopath. Then I'm sure they're not actually crazy.
Yeah.
You're bound to have someone think of that answer. Come on.
Anyway, since we're talking about the game Monopoly and crazy John Goodman, I thought I'll throw that in.
Yeah, that was all right. Good to know.
Let me ask you though about John Goodman. Like, I've been thinking about it since then. I thought, I wonder, because like he ran her off the road with the intention of taking her to the bunker, but I thought, did he run her off the road, get her to the bunker, and then only realize the apocalypse has happened when the other guy tries to get in? Or did he know the apocalypse happened, ran her off the road because he wanted to have someone in the bunker with him?
I think the apocalypse happened after they got into the bunker.
Yeah,
or
I don't think he knew, because the skinny guy who breaks his arm trying to get in, he says, "I threw my arm through the door, and I saw from the look on his face, he realized this was real." So I think John Goodman was like locking him out because he's like, "No, I don't want him to know I've got a girl down there." And then he realized, "Oh my God, the apocalypse is actually happening." Yeah. And that's why he let him in.
That's the only, I guess, John, maybe John Gallagher Jr.'s character, the bearded guy, he went in because he saw things were going down, but John Goodman was just like, "No, he just wanted to kill another girl." Yeah. So it's like,
I don't think he even knew the apocalypse was happening.
No, it wasn't until he got down there where he was just like, I guess there's been an attack. Okay. Which is weird, which begs the question, why is it that,
by the way,
maybe we're wrong.
Character's name is Emmett. I wrote it down.
Yeah, sorry,
Scruffy
Emmett.
Dude, Emmett. So.
Okay, Scruffy Dude. But then again, why would Emmett tell, what was the chick's name?
Michelle. I wrote that
why would Emmett tell Michelle that Howard told him that the apocalypse was going down? Is it because he was... I don't understand. Is it because he was always about the apocalypse? Like he was always.
Yeah, I thought he meant because he was one of the ones who helped him build the bunker. The bunker. So I thought he was talking about like years earlier when they built the bunker. He was always talking about the apocalypse. I thought he meant that.
Now here's my first thought was, he built the bunker because he wanted to go. He was a serial killer. That was like my first thought was maybe he built the bunker because he killed people in his bunker, and he used the apocalypse stuff to kind of cover up his murders. That was my first thought. Like maybe the whole apocalypse was just to cover up, and it just happened to work out that the apocalypse actually ended up happening, which is
it's probably a mixture of both. He's probably a doomsday prepper who also is a part-time serial killer.
Yeah,
just on the side, kind of like you, Trey.
Yeah.
Mr. Psychopath. You probably have a basement right now. Help! Oh, that's just your guest. Yeah.
It's like, oh no, that's he spoiled Game of Thrones for me. I'll get him later. Don't you worry. I'll be okay. No, he'll be fine. He'll be fine.
Let me ask you again,
Beyond Greyjoy
with John Goodman though, is like I was wondering. I was like if Emmett was not there, do you think he took Michelle because he basically wants to do what guys like that usually do to good-looking women that are chained up in their underwear, or did he just want her to be like his replacement daughter that left? Because when they're playing that charades, he has to guess woman for the girl, but he doesn't even think of her as a woman. He calls her a child, calls her a girl, or this sort of stuff. So I wonder, did he want to have her as a sex slave, or did he want to just have her be like his surrogate daughter sort of thing?
He definitely. I don't think he was going to have her as a sex slave. He definitely was going to kill her. But my thing is you might be
why
kind.
Did he
but
shave
you are
his beard off?
But
He's
you are.
Like,
Well,
I got the fur off from my face.
Here's what I'm getting at.
I removed the fur around my mouth because is that what he was doing?
Excuse me? What did you just say? What did you just say? I heard
edit
you.
that out. That's pretty dirty.
Don't repeat
actually.
yourself. Holy bitch.
I might cut that out, yeah.
I almost swore, Bandit. No. Put a giant bleep over it. That'll be the best.
I didn't say anything rude. I was just saying, you know.
No. I don't like. It's shocking. Like maybe cut out right after you mentioned why he shaved his beard. Just put like a bleep, and then have my reaction still in there. That'll make people upset. I'm happy about do that.
But my point is.
Well, I was answering your question.
But if he didn't want to have her for that purpose, then why did he bother shaving his beard off?
Well, I was going to get to that when I was done answering your question from 2 minutes ago. So sorry. It's just like I think he brought her down to kill her because I think my thing is like when his wife left with his daughter. I think that clicked something in him that okay, he wants to have the feeling of having a daughter once again. So maybe every time he brings a girl down there, he shaves his beard, he acts like a father to her, and then he kills her. He doesn't. I don't know if he may rape her. I don't know, but he definitely kills her. I think that's what essentially he did, and like maybe he takes the picture of the girl he killed, and then that's officially his new daughter, quote unquote. So
I agree. I think. Yeah, it was more that he wanted to be a dad. It was not so much he's like, I'm going to rape this girl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, who knows?
Did you take any notes?
Oh yeah, I got loads.
All right, let's go through your notes.
Well, I did also think about that, like when the first time that John Goodman has that big sort of blow up, and where he pins her against the wall, and he's like, "You must apologize," and the guy's like, "Hey, calm down." He's like, "Shut up." You remember that bit?
Yes.
Well, when she steals the keys off his belt, but like in that bit, he says to her, he's like, "I know a traitor when I see one," and I thought, I wonder about because he mentioned like he was in the Navy, so I wonder if he was in like prisoner interrogation for the military or something, which I guess would kind of explain why he's having someone chained up in a room is kind of second nature to him or something like that.
Maybe he's interrogating, maybe he's just, a people person, like what's the word, like a classifier or something, where he talks to criminals and like gets them to know each other, like whatnot, like not necessarily like a therapist, but like kind of like a prison therapist or something like that, or I don't know, something.
He did kind of like figure out what they were up to too when he shot
he wasn't an idiot, which I loved too. She didn't escape when just because she was just because he wasn't an idiot, I guess I'm trying to get at here.
Yeah, like even when he like when he finds the suit, like even if he didn't see the suit under the mattress, he still would have found the one in the vent. Because he's like, why is this loose at all? Like, he's not an idiot. He would have found it one way or another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right. Okay, so here's my question. Would you end the movie with the your red letter media style of ending, or would you have the aliens in there at all?
I guess. Well, I actually thought it would have been better if it was just like an invasion from another country, not so much aliens. But if it's called 10 Cloverfield Lane and you're trying to hook it into the first one, you need to have some kind of monster, whether it's an alien or something. So I guess the alien invasion makes sense. But I would have ended it without the weird, throwing the Molotov cocktail into...
And the weird... My thing
that
was
somehow explodes the whole thing,
The weird Sarah Connor ending... Sarah Connor. That was the weird Sarah Connor ending that's what really got to him. I was like, no, thank you.
Because you didn't need that to complete her arc. She's already overcome. She's already beaten evil down.
Her getting out the bunker is how you complete her arc. Though, me being the sadistic, apparently psychopathic person that I am, I would end it. And this is, honestly, I wouldn't have the aliens in there. I would have her get out. I would have her get out. Maybe take and have her in her suit. She's breathing, and then maybe she gets the cut in her suit, whatever, and she realizes the air is safe to breathe. She takes off her helmet and she just kind of walks off in the distance. I honestly think that's a better way to end the movie, because not only does it prove John Goodman was just crazy, but it's like And if you want it, I feel like there's a way to tie in this movie in Cloverfield without having there to be aliens. At the start of the movie, like when she's listening to the radio, I was listening so carefully to what the radio was saying as to maybe pick up something. It's like maybe just in the radio just say like after the attacks of New York, and then like quickly change to the next station or whatever. That's all you have to say, and there set the same universe through that one sentence, and then you can just have the movie be this simple set story that already is. The aliens, I think, just make it a little too bigger than it, because originally this movie was not going to be a Cloverfield movie. At least that was the plan going in when they first made the movie. It was called, I think it was called Valencia, and it was, they filmed it like 2 years ago, and I guess I don't know I don't know how late in the game the whole Clover thing was added to the movie, but it doesn't feel shoehorned, but it feels different is my thing. It feels like something that wasn't originally meant to be there. But I don't.
Yeah, I agree. That whole ending from like when she sees the alien to when she's like, I'm going to join the resistance, it felt like it was a different movie, didn't it?
The alien I can swallow. It's really everything that happens after the alien attack is what I can't swallow. Like right after everything after that alien shot is what I can't. It's what I can't.
Really, you didn't. You were okay with the alien going through the barn door, and I thought that was stupid, man.
Oh no, I'm talking about everything. I'm talking about everything after that first alien shot when you first see the alien spaceship.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Everything,
absolutely.
Because it was hinted that it might be aliens. Because when it's outside and you hear a car drive by, that doesn't sound like a car. That sounds like a weird monstrous roar. So like when she hears noises above her above the bunker, it doesn't sound like people. It sounds like something different elsewhere is out there. So you set up the fact that it might be something other than a war zone going on outside, and so if you have the shot of aliens, it's like, oh, hey, it's aliens, and movie, wonderful, great movie.
Yeah,
it's really Well,
Red Letter Media said they could have made it that the woman who ran up against the door was some mental patient that escaped and had burned half her face off, and that really nothing at all happened outside. Like that'd be a cool ending. Man. But I don't know. Do you reckon people would like that, or at the end you'd be like, no, I want to see aliens? It might feel a little bit anticlimactic.
Because my point is, like, at this point, if you are there to see aliens and monsters, you have already not liked the movie. At this point, the movie, because think about it, this is not like 40 minutes in.
Cloverfield in the name.
But that's my thing, though. Like, if you don't like the movie already, you're not gonna like it because they have a shot of aliens at the end. But that's my thing. Like, one little confrontation with an alien at the end does not equal. Like, if my sister, who really enjoyed the first Cloverfield movie, went to go see this expecting Cloverfield monster, she would have been really, really ticked by the 40-minute mark. Because it has nothing to do with the Cloverfield thing. So by the ending, it's already too far gone. Like, it's already too far removed to where you're just like, the ending was cool, I guess, but that's like nothing, that's not the movie. I don't know. That's how I think.
If they really wanted to annoy people, she could get out of the bunker. She gets out of there, like everything like shines bright all around her and blinding white light. And she wakes up and she's actually in the hospital bed, and they're like, "Oh, we better turn down the morphine trip."
I would have been.
Dreams. That would everyone would be like, "I want my money back."
Like John Goodman's like John Goodman's like the doctor, and he's just like,
he's like the janitor. He's like, "Oh yeah, you wake up every now
he's
and then."
Sleeping. Yeah, and like the bearded guy's the doctor. We gotta turn down that morphine. Yeah, am I right? Yeah, and you're just like, wow.
Yeah,
I'd have been so
maybe
mad.
Emmett is the doctor or something, and Goodman is, a guy in the bed next to her who's always like ranting crazily or something. Yeah, I think that would annoy people.
And then like you hear in the background, like in the radio, it's like, and then at the attacks of New York, an alien happened, and then the movie is over. Like, see, there's a Cloverfield connection, or like the hospital.
Because remember, before she's driving, like the radio says there's been weird power outages, so the radio at the end could just be like, so there's power outages, they've been fixed now, everything's back to normal.
Yeah,
and you'll be like, what?
After following the weird power outages that happened without an explanation, everything seems to be back to normal. Keep going with your lives, guys. And then suddenly in the back corner, you look in a window, and what do you see? A middle finger. And then the movie's over.
It's just J.J. Abrams standing there just flipping everyone the bird. It's like,
sitting there like in a Han Solo getup, just like this a bunch of us putting up his middle finger.
He's like, oh, I wanted to have a Death Star blow the planet up. Oh.
Wait, can she be less vulnerable? She needs to stop losing so much. She's not powerful enough.
She needs to be more of a Mary Sue.
Yeah, she needs to be more.
I liked her character because like the things she can do make sense. Like she can stitch up the suit because she knows how to to make clothes. Like, that's her whole thing. And and like, I like that she's like, she fights back and all that, like when she first gets there, until she like starts to believe, oh yeah, you know, all this weird stuff's happening. And it's like, yeah, she fights back like a real woman would. But I do think, like, when she first wakes up and she's like trying to, you know, I was like, well, I thought what she was going to do, because she pulled the drip out of her arm. I was like, well, there's a needle. So I thought she was going to use the needle to try to pick the handcuffs. Or then, like, maybe conceal the needle in her fist and just punch John Goodman in the throat with it or something like that. But the needle sort of disappeared.
Well, I think is a syringe that what's I'm looking for? Is it that sturdy? I feel like a syringe is kind of fragile. I don't know.
It kind of is.
I guess it can be fragile.
They should have had her trying to pick the handcuffs and the needle breaks or something.
That would have been good. No, yeah, because then that adds that extra element of, oh man, she failed. But I really enjoyed this movie. Any more notes, Bandit? Because we're pushing 2 hours here.
Yep. Okay. I think it was creepy, but without really horrible scenes. I mean, there were horrible scenes.
Yeah,
like people getting dissolved in bats of acid.
Yeah,
and
that was rough.
Like, it was creepy, but without needing to like showing her getting raped or anything like that. So I appreciate that. It was creepy without those kind of horrible scenes. Yeah.
But would you take your kids to? Yeah, I take some kids. I take kids to go see it. They'd like it. If they like movies, I think they'd enjoy it. But that's just me. Whatever. Yeah. That's just a question to ask.
I think. Also, little thing is like the radio in the bunker, that must have been fake. Because remember, he's like, see, there's nothing coming through the radio. But then, when she's in the car, of course, there is something on the radio. So that must have been a dummy from the other girls that he's brought down, and how he'd convinced them that the world is ending because there's nothing on the radio and the dead pigs.
Oh my god, that's just another layer, man.
Yeah.
John Goodman, ooh, he's sick.
He's done it a few times.
Yeah. Okay,
like,
so...
wasn't it like... After he shoots Emmett in the face, he's like, it's okay, this is how it was supposed to be, just you and me. It's like, oh, so you have done this before, and this was what you had planned. Yeah. And you just didn't expect Emmett to show up at the door with the real apocalypse, and you're like, oh my god.
Isn't it crazy when he shaves his beard, though? Don't you just feel so uncomfortable of like, I don't know.
On Weekly Planets, Nick Mason said it's like, hey, time for some daddy-daughter time. That's how he expressed that scene. Which is better than the way I expressed it a bit sooner.
Yes. It's much better than the way that you, yeah.
Well, I think... Well, I've got the name. If they want to turn Cloverfield into like a Twilight Zone style franchise of movies, and you need to have like Cloverfield or whatever in the title, I've got a title they can use next one. 4-leaf clover in a field. There you go.
4-leaf clover. And okay, so I asked a poll on Twitter, talking about what people overall's impressions of the movie's ending, what they think, and I said was it either positive or negative. 60% positive and 40% was negative.
Really?
So
40% negative.
Yeah, so I think, generally speaking, people are enjoying the ending, which is cool, which is good.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Why do you reckon so much? 40% bad. Do you think that's either the people who just didn't like the ending, or maybe people were expecting Cloverfield 2, or why do you think so high?
I think it's because maybe it's from people like me who were really enjoying what they got beforehand, and the bait and switch was uncomfortable or it felt wrong for them, or it's because people were expecting. I don't know. I honestly don't know, because people that were expecting aliens ended up getting aliens. I don't know. It's weird. Here, I'm gonna vote in on myself, and then I'll brace the.
There is another connection, though, to Cloverfield that could be, because John Goodman does mention something about satellites, or
and the
satellites falling from the sky, he mentions. And isn't that how the first Cloverfield movie starts? Because I can't remember exactly, but...
At the end, how do I say that? At the end, in the very, very background, if you have to look very carefully, you do see a satellite fall into the ocean. It's very low quality, it's blurry in the background, but it is there, and J.J. Abrams has confirmed that it is there. Yeah, so there's another connection.
Because I heard somebody, I can't remember, it's been so long since I've seen Cloverfield, but I heard somebody said the movie starts with satellite crashing in the ocean, which awoken something that was the monster that was already there. But I never saw that. I just figured the monster just came out of the ocean.
I always thought, I always thought the ocean, like the monster just fell in a meteor. But I think, well, because that footage I'm talking about is at the end. It's the ending of the movie. Because if you can recall, the two leads are underneath the bridge, and then the bombs go off, and I think they get suffocated in the rocks, or whatever, they die or whatever. And then you hear, and the camera gets covered in the rocks, and then the footage cuts to the ending. Or to the footage of the couple at Coney Island or whatever, at the amusement park, and they're making a vlog about one another. And in the background of the vlog, you see the satellite crash into the ocean. So it's technically the beginning of the movie, but it's the final shot you see of the film. Okay. Yeah. So he was kind of right. Whoever you talk to.
It's interesting though, because like the whole doomsday prepper thing. Because how come there are no doomsday preppers in The Walking Dead? They should introduce that. That'd be cool. Don't you reckon?
Yeah. I think that at this point, well, that's what is now essentially what Alexandria became. Essentially, they put them there. Yeah.
I don't think they were exactly doomsday preppers though. They were just lucky enough to be in an area that was isolated.
Yeah, and they started building up the walls. But it would have been nice to, I guess maybe because the apocalypse was never something like, because apparently the whole universe of The Walking Dead is that George A. Romero never made Night of the Living Dead, so zombies never became a part of the pop culture media. So I guess because zombies are a big catalyst for the apocalypse. Everyone's waiting for the zombie apocalypse. Apparently, I don't run very fast. So rule number 1, cardio. So I don't. So my thing is, I guess that makes kind of sense that there wouldn't be doomsday preppers because people aren't waiting for the apocalypse. I don't know.
Well, but then again, the Cold War. Right?
Huh?
Isn't there that line from Emmett where he's like, "Hey, even Howard thinks zombies is kind of far fetched."
Yeah, that's a great line. He's like, yeah, even he doesn't believe in zombies. But yeah.
But I guess don't they say like one nuclear submarine has enough to like kill all life on Earth like 3 times over or something?
Well, I know the United States, I'm sure, is covered in nuclear bombs. So it's not, honestly, I think...
So in that sense, doomsday is pretty plausible.
Well,
all the biotech, like I've heard there's like one lab that has enough to kill all of humanity like 10 times over or something.
The next World War, to quote Albert Einstein, World War III will be fought with weapons, but World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones. Like, Albert Einstein, like, the next World War will destroy us because we have nukes now. This is different. This is why the Cold War was such a big deal, because World War III would be terrible. I wouldn't be here right now. So it's a
that's why they had the MAD policy, which stood for mutually assured destruction. MAD, which is why they never shot at each other, because if you shoot at them, they see you, they shoot, and then everyone dies. So it's like,
you could always just aim the rocket.
Everyone had an incentive not to shoot
the nuke. Just aim. Why they never could just aim the nuke at the other nuke and just like had like, I don't know.
That's like the Star Wars program, not the movie, the actual program the military tried to do. Yeah, wow. But I guess that's why everyone's so scared of North Korea, because like, maybe like the Soviet Union would not have shot at Russia because they know they're going to be destroyed, but North Korea would do it. They'd be like, yeah, I'll blow you up. We'll blow ourselves up. We don't care.
There's a really funny sketch I saw. It was something online about our world and their economies and whatnot. And it's like America on the phone with China, and it's like, hey, China, can I borrow $5? And he's like, and China's like, America's like, I know, we owe you a lot of money, but tell you what, I'll give you this watch. Oh wait, you made this. It's like jokes like that. And then you see like North Korea walking through this shopping cart, and like you see like the bottom, like what looks like a fake bomb sticking out underneath like this blanket, and it's like covering what looks like nuclear bombs. And North Korea's just looking around like just like, ooh, look at here, look what I've got. A bunch of bombs. It's a lovely sketch. It's really funny.
Hey, North Korea, what's under the cloth there? Oh, nothing. That's just
nothing. Yeah,
a coffee machine. That's all.
Coffee machine. And like you see Britain.
Really, could I have one? Don't press that button.
And like in Britain and Canada are there, and Britain's like, so Canada has universal health care, and then Canada's like, better than your dental plan, and it's like, oh my god. So it's a really funny. I have to find it. It's really funny. But that's any random.
Donald Trump's like, build a wall, and Australia's like, well, we have an ocean around us. We don't need to.
Yeah, Donald Trump is just trying to putting blocks around the guy dressed as Mexico. Just putting blocks around. I have an idea. Just put.
Big wall, beautiful wall, you know.
Available, and China will pay for it.
And China's just like, no.
And North Korea's over here like, oh, how about now? Yeah. But that's politics.
Oh, Dad.
Do you have any? We don't usually get political on this show, guys. But do you have any more thoughts on the movie?
The only one more, which is, I love the fact that John Goodman used the word Martian when he was talking about all the things that could happen.
Yeah.
We don't hear the word Martian very much anymore. What happened to that word?
Unless it's talking about the funniest movie of the year, best comedy at the Golden Globes was The Martian. Let's not forget.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Lest we forget Bandit.
I guess it's because that has to be aliens from Mars for Martians. But yeah, let's bring that word back, the Martians. That's good.
Yeah.
I want to hear that again.
Okay. Well, I have. There are some comments here about the movie. We already answered Ben Haynes' comment. You and David, we answered your question for you, so I hope you're satisfied. But Jack Fitzpatrick has kind of a long-winded, very well written out here paragraph here that I won't read all of it, but basically we'll say here that we agree with you. He says that the ending felt very unbalanced. He said the aliens can exist, but don't shove them in our faces. I agree.
Yeah, I agree. I haven't had a chance to read these questions yet, but yeah, I agree.
And he agrees with me when he says he despises the call for help via radio. Yeah, he hates that too. I'm like, yeah, me too. Yeah.
Sure.
So. Okay. All right. So, Bandit, that's 10 Cloverfield Lane. I really enjoyed most of it. All right.
Yeah, me too.
Let's get to listener questions.
Excuse me. I'd like to ask you a few questions.
All right, guys, so here are the listener questions. For you guys that don't know, every week on the Facebook page, we ask you, Movie Mania Facebook page, to ask listener questions, and if they're good enough, we give you a shout on the show and answer your questions. So right here, Eddie Storms says, you both infuriate me. Trey, it's because you sound like a rich kid with minimal real-world experience. You may be a worldliest of follows. Bandit, it's because you make a lot of mistakes with your facts and or observations.
Oh, I was hoping that would have been from last week's episode when I wasn't there, and he's like, both of you. But no.
You know, Bandit...
Don't worry, I get my fair share of hate on the internet. Don't worry about it.
That kind of sounds like a traitor.
Ooh.
I hate so much about the things that you choose to be.
I hate you!
There we go, traitors. You think you got away, but here it comes.
We're back. All right.
Let's do the traitoring. I've got a traitor comment saved.
You got a traitor, Bandit? What's his name?
This traitor is Ryan Hutchison. Hello, Ryan Hutchison.
Hello, Ryan.
We love you, Ryan. He says, I'm not hating. Put me on the traitor thing if you want. Well, we have.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Really, we're not having a go at you, Ryan. This is all in good fun. Don't worry. He said, because all you're doing is hurting yourself. You will never get to Weekly Planet level with this kid who is literally 16 at the oldest. Why? It's probably just because he's young, but he's just so smart about movies. Oh, no, sorry, I read that wrong. It's probably just because he's young, but he's not smart about movies. Well, to answer your question, Ryan Hutchison, the reason that Trey is on the podcast when he's 16 is because I didn't know he was 16 when we started the podcast. I assumed he was about 20 years old. And I think we're about 4 episodes in by the time he mentioned he was 16. I was like, oh, okay, let's just push on. And I know Trey was this young. I probably would not have done the podcast because I thought I might get in trouble.
And that, kids, is how you get in the business. That's called show business. It's like
seriously, I had no idea you were 16 though.
It's like when kids would join the military, like join the army back in the 40s, and they're like 12 years old or whatever, and they just be like, "No, sir, I'm totally 16." Yeah.
Do you remember the next podcast after that before we recorded? I was like, do your parents know you're doing this?
I'm like,
I might get in trouble.
I'm like, they won't get in trouble. They're not going to go find you. First of all, it's out of their jurisdiction of America. Secondly, I'm sure I'm smart enough to know when things are going on. I'm not an idiot, Bandit. Thirdly, I found you to do the podcast.
That's right, you did. Yeah,
I found you to do the Fantastic Four stuff. So let's not.
But listen, while all that's true, like the honest truth is, The honest truth is, for a 16-year-old, you're extremely ambitious. And that's really rare to find someone who's that ambitious and is that determined. You've already built stuff at the age of 16. I wish I was so ambitious at that age. So that's also the reason. So.
And honestly, I just wanted
to. I didn't know he was 16 when we started the podcast.
I didn't honestly think it mattered. I just kind of dropped it in like a random conversation.
Yeah, so you never should have mentioned you're 16.
Oh, people can hit all they want. They're sorry because I'm better at them when they were 16 years old. Sorry, that was mean. I don't mean that.
That's true. You're better than me when I was 16 years old. What was I doing? I don't know.
They don't have to know that, do they? All right, we have another trader here. All right, David Rotman says he loved the show, but 3 hours of podcast is too much podcast.
Oh, that's not a traitor. That's true.
You can always just stop listening.
But no, don't stop listening. He's right though. That the 3 hours is a bit too long for the podcast. And I was actually thinking like, because especially now that Trilbee's on with the three of us, we talk much longer. So maybe we'll do a thing where we'll swap between the homework assignment and the listener questions. Maybe we'll just go, every second week we'll swap them out. So that way we don't go for like 3 hours long sort of thing.
Well, my thing is just like if you said at the start when we first started the podcast, you asked me and you said, how long should the podcast go for? And I said to you, and I said, as long as the conversation needs to be. That's what a podcast is. And you were like, yeah, you're right. Maybe, the 3 hours thing made more sense to me because Trilbee was on. And we were talking about Man of Steel, a movie that's made for discussion, and last week it went for like 2:16 because we spent a half an hour on Anomalisa. But, I just think, as long as the conversation... I think once we hit 3 hours, we know that we probably have gone on for too long, and we can cut some things out at some point. But I don't think we should. We shouldn't try to sit here and worry about. Oh man, we're talking for too long. We should let the conversation go on as naturally as it can.
That's true, and we do have the timestamp, so people can skip to the main thing if they're bored of us talking about Walking Dead, which I'm sure many are.
I am. I've lost all. I feel like Daniel Craig. I feel like Daniel
You're the one who wants
Spectre.
to talk about it on the podcast.
I just brought it up because it's in my homework. All right. I feel like Daniel Craig and Spectre. You know what? We'll put a moratorium on it until the season finale, and we'll talk more about it later. Okay.
But that's something we keep forgetting to do. Like before we move on to the news, we should put it in where we say like whether you're watching on YouTube, whether you're listening to us on iTunes, you can look at the time codes below. Because for anyone who joins us straight off, they wouldn't know that we even have those.
Yeah, I always forget that in my notes. And
make it part of your intro for the news. Like, about to move on to the news. If you're listening on iTunes, whether you're watching on YouTube, check us timestamps in the description. News, something like that.
Honestly, if I forget to, it has to be if I remember to put it on my paper. Because like 10 minutes before we start recording, I'll get this paper down and I'll start. These are my show notes, and I write down my catchphrase for the week of how I start your intro, and then I listen to the movie news, and I list the homework and the topic and the Q&A. That's so I know what to talk about when we get to that point. I'm gonna have to start putting in big letters, time codes on all the papers, and suddenly put that in my brain that I need to mention time codes.
Yeah.
If I have to do that, I will.
That's also why you're on the show, even though you're 16. Because you do a lot of the work as well.
Well, I do my work, quote unquote. I just go on. I look at my podcast, I listen to what they talk about in the news, whatever.
Hey, it's something less I have to do. So.
Hey man, you're telling me. All right, guys. All right. So that's another rendition of Traitors.
Traitors. We should probably get onto the legit.
Yeah, let's get to the actual listener questions.
Now that we've insulted all of our listeners.
Yeah. Okay, all right. Alex Zepps on Facebook asks, he says, since Daredevil Season 2 recently came out, my question is, if Deadpool came out before the Dark and Gritty Marvel series, do you think shows like Daredevil and Jessica Jones would be movies instead of TV shows?
I don't know. What do you think?
I think no, but not because of the R rating, but because it's the MCU. The reason that Netflix is able to be a great home for things like Daredevil, Jessica Jones, because they're able to be very faithful to the comics, and the comics are R-rated comics, and in some cases. But Marvel, I think it's gonna be a while before the MCU multi-million, $100 million movies that are put into theaters for as long as theaters are going to be around are going to be R-rated. I think the reason that they are able to do a TV show is because Netflix will let them do an R-rated TV show. You won't see Jessica Jones on ABC anytime soon. So I don't think that it would.
Yeah, I suppose I agree as well. Like, I don't think it would, but I'm certainly glad that they're there, because it's like shows like Jessica Jones or Daredevil or now Punisher or whatever. Like on Netflix, they can kind of be like a big fish in a small pond.
Yeah.
But if you took those characters and moved them into the MCU, they'd get overshadowed by all the other big names. So it's kind of a good thing. And I'm glad.
It really is.
Because Daredevil's great. He deserves to be the focus of his own thing.
Yeah. I do want to see it. I do want to see a crossover. Like I said before, I want to see this Wilson Fisk with like go against Spider-Man, because those two have gone off against each other in the comics, and it's so much fun when they do. But to know that we're going to get a Spider-Man with the MCU's tone with this Wilson Fisk, it just warms my heart, my inner comic nerd. All we need at this point, we've seen Ant-Man on the Arrow, we've seen Iron Man shoot Cap's shield and take out bad guys. All we need at this point is to see Wolverine fight the Hulk. That's all I have on my nerd checklist of when I was 5 years old. All that needs to be done is I used to have Wolverine fight the Hulk all the time. That's all I need to happen now.
Well, we never thought Spider-Man would make it back home, but he has, so I guess anything's possible.
Well, yeah, for a while. But it's Fox, and they're going to hold on to those X-Men for a long time.
Yeah, that's true, because, the X-Men movies are still doing pretty well financially, so they're not going to sell them. See, they need to have some movies tank real bad, like Spider-Man did, in order for them to go back to MCU,
Yeah, and not just
Where's Josh Trank when you need him?
Josh Trank to direct Wolverine 3. All right, man. Next question here. Joseph Hudson asks, what TV show would you like to be made into a movie? It's a great question.
Yeah, I don't think there are any.
I'd like to see a Defenders.
There's a lot of movies I would like seen turn into TV shows so we can dig a bit deeper, but there's not many TV shows I'd like seeing turn into movies. Like Game of Thrones, I don't want that as a movie, because they couldn't do it as good as the show can do it, stuff like that.
I'd like to see a finale Game of Thrones, like kind of the Game of Thrones kind of epic conclusion, like the spiritual successor to the Game of Thrones TV show would be the movie. I don't know. It's just like, but I think, how do I say it? I think there are these books that I used to read back in elementary school that are honestly more adult than you think they are back when I was reading them. And they were called Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events. You may have never heard of them, but they're a very popular book series when I was younger. Okay, they're and they made a movie about it when I was like 5 years old with Jim Carrey. It was honestly the only good thing about that movie. The movie's trash. That's because they weren't able to be faithful. They tried to stick 3 plots of the books, like 3 books into 90 minutes. So I think they're thinking about making it into a Netflix series. And so I think, in terms of for making things go the reverse way, I'd love to see that movie/book series put into a Netflix show. That's going to be awesome. Especially if you get the right Count Olaf. Anyway, I don't know. But I'd like to see a Defenders movie. All the Netflix guys at Marvel. Have them come together. I'd like to see a Defenders movie. Kind of like a Suicide Squad-esque, except they're good guys, Have them maybe
that'd be a good movie.
Because, I think they're going to do a Defenders in miniseries, but no, I want to see a Defenders, movie. After they do Iron Fist and all that, and Daredevil and Jessica Jones, all that, Luke Cage, make that movie. I'm down for that.
It'll be interesting to see how they're going to do that whole Defenders thing, because if Legends of Tomorrow is any guide, it's fine, it's just not great, so hopefully Defenders can do a bit of a better job.
Well, I have bigger faith in Netflix and Marvel than I do because
whatever
those
channel Legends of Tomorrow is on,
WB, not WB, what is CW? Because Netflix and Marvel, it's all
could
connected.
That be because Netflix frees them up creatively to do more interesting new things?
Sean Alexander asks, best John Goodman performance.
Ooh, there's been a lot, hasn't it? I think this
son of a female dog. You suck. You suck.
Ted Cloverfield Lane has got to be right up there.
It's it's up there. I really liked him in Argo. Yeah, he's an
he was the
Arkin.
movie producer.
He was one of the movie producers. He and Alan Arkin were able to provide a lot of levity for that really, really serious but good movie. Yeah, I liked him
in The Big Lebowski, which was actually kind of similar to his character in 10 Cloverfield Lane, only nicer, but still as crazy.
I honestly liked him as Fred Flintstone in the Flintstones.
Yeah,
I honestly liked him as Fred Flintstone. But yeah, he's one of those actors where you forget how good he is until he's great again.
It could be recency bias, but yeah, I'm thinking this might actually be his best work.
Well, it seems so diverse from him. You know, I don't usually. He can play bad guys, he can play good guys, but he's never been able to, at least from what I've seen of him, he's able to draw such a spectrum, like such a teeter-totter of where it's not until when it's revealed, I guess, since we don't give spoilers again in case people
don't give any spoilers,
questions, right? But when it's finally revealed what's actually going on with him, it's like, I don't know what to think about that. Yeah. So,
and again, it's like it shows like how good his acting is because again, non-spoilerish. I mentioned this in a non-spoiler section. He's not just sane and crazy. He's got all these different levels of craziness in between that he could do. Where it's like
he's one giant shade of gray.
A little bit crazy, but then he cranks it up and he's just a bit more crazy. Like that's really good acting there.
It's like it goes up to 11, but then it's down back to 4. Then it goes up to 12, and then it's down like to 5. It's like
it'd be like in Interstellar, where it's like talking to the robot. 40% humor. Yeah, that'd be like the director with John Heumann in this. Take the craziness up to 55%.
That's a good analogy, Bandit. Good job. You're getting better at them. Congratulations. All right, I think that's all the questions we have here. Right. That'll end this week's episode of Movie Mania. Thank you all for watching, talking 10 Cloverfield Lane and other things, and your listener questions and whatnot, and a really great tangent about movie theaters and the future of digital cinema.
I'm sure Bandit, will flare up again at some point.
Yeah, Bandit, where can the people find you?
The people can find me on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter as Bandit Incorporated, and they can find you.
And they can find me on YouTube's, Twitter's, Facebook, all that good stuff at either Trey White or Podcast Media. Well, special thanks to Milan Jeftic for the channel art, but we do need other art for Trilbee, since Trilbee has joined the podcast. So if any of you guys are artistically inclined, we'd love you guys to make the art, and we will officially give you a shout out every week on the podcast at the end, like we did Milan Jeftic.
Yes. I have been meaning to ask Milan Jeftic to do another one too. I've forgotten to get around to it, but if any of our fans out there want to do one, because normally we try to do like the thumbnail we've got of myself and Trey running away from an explosion. We figured since we're talking about movies, that's kind of like a movie idea. So if anyone can think of like a movie poster with 3 characters on it that you want to sort of do a parody of like myself, Trey, and Trilbee, that'd be really cool.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it'd be wonderful, and we would be very grateful for it. And thank you very much if you do. If not, we'll see you all next week when we talk Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. It's so close. I'm like 4 or 5 days away. So see you all later.
And also for the Daredevil fans. Yes, we are going to do a Daredevil episode. Next week, of course, we're going to do Batman v Superman. So we're saving Daredevil to the week after that. And that'll also allow everyone enough time to watch everything and catch up so we can do the whole Daredevil season in one episode.
But don't worry, we will talk about Daredevil and all its awesome glory. It's so great. So see you guys later. Thank you for watching Movie Maniacs. But my thing is, like, you might be
kind. Did he shave his beard off?
But you are. Well,
I got the fur off from my face.
Here's what I'm getting at.
I removed the fur around my mouth because there's going to be fur around your mouth in a minute. Is that what he was doing?
Excuse me? What did you just say? What did you just say? I heard
edit
you.
that out. That's pretty dirty.
Don't repeat
actually.
yourself.